New York Comic Con was awesome. Don't you guys agree?
I'm so tired. How do you have energy, Marco? Jesus.
How not, dude? Was that not energizing?
I was pumped, dude.
I mean, my feet are feeling the effects of gravity and being touched upon. But no, it was a pretty damn good show. Yeah.
Worded that a little weird.
Yeah, he worded it in a Tyler way, a very, very Tyler
That wasn't even
way.
purposeful. Guys, I've been doing a lot of talking this weekend, okay? Word might not work too good today.
Brain broke.
You guys aren't used to seeing us on this day at this time, but of course, we did want to make sure we gave you a live show this week, a main show. And how could we not? There is so much to talk about, so much incredible news coming out of New York Comic Con 2023. We had a phenomenal time. Hopefully, you guys had a great time following the news. I couldn't really engage with it, but Discord was going off all week with the stuff that was coming out.
I was getting alerts from Manny constantly.
Yeah, Manny was active.
Pulling through, man.
Yeah. A lot of fun to follow that when I could. But look, let's be honest. Nothing beats being at New York Comic Con. Nothing beats feet to ground in the Javits Center when you see that big ass sign that says, "Welcome to New York Comic Con, the one and only." You know you're at the Mecca. That's how I felt.
We're at home.
Yeah.
We made it.
It was pretty nice. Especially that big, when you enter in on I guess the southernmost side of the building. And it's that big open air area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Get the motor trucks right outside. Well, if they usually have their installations and whatnot, but Matt.
Yeah. It's just so much fun. If you ever have the opportunity to go, you really, really should. Now I'm gonna throw this out there. I don't know if you guys agree. Best New York Comic Con ever?
I think
that we've done for the show. Yes. Easily.
Yeah.
I still have a soft spot in my heart for special edition New York Comic Con, but if we're talking main Comic Cons, yeah, this was pretty good. Even the news was aplenty for once. Yeah. There was actual buzz going around for news. Like the past couple cons, especially because we're really more interested in the comic book news. It's just been that could have been an email, but no, there was some real energy around some of the announcements this year.
And I think also the people there felt that, because as we were talking to people across the board, everyone was like, oh yeah, coming off of SDCC was super hot and now we're here, and a lot of that that feeling of comics focus and being comic centric was a lot more present, and a lot of people responded well to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we told you guys there would be coverage. We promised coverage. We gave you coverage, not just through our social media where we did post pictures and things like that. We did. Tyler was doing this really fun thing, asking various people their 4 favorite comics. You want to talk a little bit about that, Tyler?
Well, first I want to just because he would hate me. He'd probably hate that I am going to shout him out for this, but Matt did help come up with the idea. So I will say, friend of the show, Matt Murphy, thank you. But yeah, no, I pretty much went around and asked creators what their 4 favorite comics were. And we have Marco is out on the TikToks and in the shorts and stuff like that. Wes Craig is out there as well. But we did a whole bunch of them. So you should see those cute little quick peeks into maybe what inspired a lot of your favorite writers and artists.
And we got a lot of sometimes similar answers. I didn't expect to hear some of those.
Some of the answers were surprising, yeah. But let's just say people like Frank Miller. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Big inspiration.
The other thing we had the interviews also, which went out. I thought we did some really great coverage. It's not necessarily as voluminous as we've done, but I think we focused in on key interviews for the most part. So we nailed. I mean, we did great, boys. We nailed Daniel Warren Johnson, which I think this year.
Pause.
Wow. Okay. For that kind of podcast. No, I'm just kidding. This year we got Daniel Warren Johnson, who I think is probably the biggest fish. Outside, I guess Jeff Johns is technically the biggest fish this year.
But for us, we were trying to get Daniel Warren Johnson for a while now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And by the way, shout out to Skybound on that huge assist.
Yeah, for sure.
All throughout making that happen to the point. I'll say it to the point where people were a little bit jealous, huh? When we had the one-on-one with Daniel Warren Johnson, little bit of jealousy there. So that was cool. But just, a little fun.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
Got to get it in.
So we also spoke to Wes Craig. We spoke to Philip Kennedy Johnson, Chip Zdarsky, and a lot more that are still coming. So stay tuned to the YouTube channel for that. And then also over on Patreon for completely free. You don't have to sub to us for any monetary value whatsoever. You get to read the blog that I put up every day after the event. Today's will come. I will still absolutely be doing that. Just been tight trying to make this happen after New York Comic Con. So, but yeah, I've had a blast doing that, and I've got some positive feedback. Thank you to those who have read it. Again, if you want to read it, you can sign up. It's completely free, no harm, no foul. If you just want to take a look, you can absolutely do that on patreon.com/thecomicspals. So let's talk a little more about our experiences at the con. So Thursday we get there, and it was fun. Our Thursdays are generally like saying hello to everybody that we know.
Yeah.
And I get a kick out of that, because these are our friends. We just see them once a year.
It's a lay of the land, both in terms of socializing and also knowing where things are. Because you cannot be New York Comic Con is huge. You can't be looking at a map on your phone in crappy internet constantly. So Thursday is just like, all right, where are we? Who's here? What are we doing? Yeah.
And we just set up a little base camp. So yeah, this person at that end over here by our main place, the Nuts. Like
the Nuts,
yeah. Big fan of that. Shout out the Nuts. Shout out the
Nuts.
Candy roasted peanuts.
What'd you call me?
We'll talk after the show, Marco.
Thursday, I don't know. Everything kind of blends together after a while, but my biggest memory of the day, which I go into more detail about in the blog, but my biggest memory of that day is meeting Rick Remender. That was amazing.
Thursday? That was that long ago?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was definitely the first day.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was my big fish this year. He's my white whale in history, really. If I could get him or Howard Stern, those are the big two. Okay.
Hey now.
But
Baba Booey,
I got to talk to him. And that was really incredible experience for me. It was really emotional. Tyler was there with me, and he was busting my chops, huh?
Bro, Marco.
I wish I was there.
Imagine your favorite writer just busting your balls, man. And Sean's being like the most sincere, genuine. Like, honestly, Sean, I thought you were gonna cry a little bit.
I thought I was gonna fucking cry, man.
And Rick can tell, and he snapped on it.
Leaned right into it.
Sean goes to give him one of the Comics Pals cards, and he's like, no, I don't want that. I'm gonna throw it out.
Insane. But that was really cool for me. Any particular things you guys want to shout out that we're not about to talk about?
Well, because we've been trying to, talk to creators. I think it being recognized was the weird thing.
Yeah.
We went, to talk to Joshua Williamson, who we've never talked to before. And he's like, oh, hey, you guys. I'm like, oh, what? That's weird. It's a little, and then I think Marco introduced us to Tom Taylor. We said hello, and then we were at an event on on Thursday night, and I bump into Tom Taylor in the bathroom, and he just says hello again to me. I'm like, what?
In the bathroom?
Yeah, so that was weird.
Oh,
And then like
nice.
just seeing like listeners, and viewers of the show, you guys. We
Yeah.
saw Flo Dameron, who's always, a frequenter in the chat. Said hi to
Yeah.
him, real chill dude. And connecting with other comic book podcast people, Comics Collective podcast, comic book couples counseling, Oblivion Bar, like those. It's a niche circle of people in terms of content creators, fans, and creators. And like when you meet them and they're really just like good people and the vibes are good. God, I gotta stop saying the vibes are good. I feel like such a dork, but when they are, it's nice. I gave out so many hell yeah brothers this weekend. It's like it's great, man.
And I think to that, right? Like it feels like we're coming up alongside, kind of like with that same sort of tide, which was really really nice and similarly unexpected. Man, I got to see Matt Kent. That's all I cared about. I didn't get a chance to interview him, but I got to talk to him. Super cool dude. And I had to got to catch up with which I did. I did do an interview for Gavin Smith, which will be coming out. That was awesome to see because I've been following his career for a few years now, and now he's main artist on TMNT and TMNT, and it's awesome to see that progression. And we got a really good conversation out of that. I thought.
Good dude too.
Oh, he's the best. He's awesome.
So let's just hit a couple quick questions. Atomic Hound said, were there DC execs there? Marie Javins actually gave a rousing speech at an industry event that we got to go to. It was a fantastic speech. I actually want to chew on that a little bit if you guys want to talk about that.
I'll chew.
Yeah, she for those of you who aren't aware, Marie Javins is she's editor-in-chief right now, right?
Correct.
Of
Yep.
DC.
And I believe it was Javins. She made sure to.
It was Javits.
Yeah, Javins. Yeah, she
Oh
made sure
wow,
to
I
say
didn't
it
know
out.
that. Okay,
Yeah, I
Marie
know.
Javins.
Yeah, I guess she gets it a lot because she mentioned it during the beginning of her speech. Yeah,
that's right.
Oh yeah, I was in the bathroom for that. So she said some things that stuck with me. She said that comics haven't been just for kids in decades, which I thought was an interesting comment. It's certainly true. I think that there are some that would argue that that's a bad thing. I think Alan Moore would certainly argue that, right? Alan Moore thinks that adults that read comic books are living out their childhood fantasies and refuse to grow up,
right?
And things like that. And obviously, when comics were more catered towards children, certainly they did sell more. But ultimately, I agree with what she's saying, and I do think it's for the best. Like I would not like it if comics were not for me. But maybe that's selfish. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't think it's selfish. I think to her it was a change in expectation, or like a change in what you feel like would be the audience. And I think there's still an expectation from people outside of who read weekly comics that it is for kids, or that the medium hasn't evolved past where it might have, where their expectations might have them, and that's not true.
Yeah. The other thing she said I wanted to tackle was thriving within a culture at odds with itself, in reference to the comic sphere. And I think that that's really interesting because comics, the community of comics really does feel at odds in a lot of ways. And that's something that I don't think it feels like a hidden fact. Like we all know that, but news sites don't talk about it. Podcasts don't cover that. No one discusses the fact that there is this like tension within the comics industry among the different factions of people. You got like the Gators, the comics Gators. You have the people that only like big two books and think everything else is shit. You have the people that only like non big two books and think that big two is shit. And all these people are like really fervent about what they feel. It's really crazy.
I'd argue that even extends to the publishing end of things.
Sure.
You know, we had a great conversation with Kyle Starks that we can't even summarize in any way. um, but yeah, just like the whole idea of, there's this whole publishing, they're publishing these books, but sometimes Sean and I talked about like the Marvel or DC doesn't advertise stuff, and it's put on the creators, and how do the creators actually do it when it's not their creation? And it's like all of these heads on a hydra trying to communicate with each other and make the body move, and somehow it lunges along.
Yeah.
But it's slow. Yeah.
And you're speaking to something that one of the things that I got to attend was the ICV2 retailer, I guess, conversation summit. And one of those things that was mentioned was, the need to continue to build community around creators specifically, as opposed to IP and to the companies, is the more important part, because ultimately, whether or not they're at a Marvel, at a DC, at an Image, at a Boom, whatever it may be, those are the people that you're following, because you're following, you're curating to tastes, and those are the things that probably are going to help the longevity of the comics industry. Not necessarily being like, cool, for sure, we're all in on Batman. Well, Batman by XYZ person should sort of be the mentality. And it was interesting to hear that from the retailer end, that there was an awareness of that.
Mm. That brings up something that I was thinking about while we were speaking, Tyler. We were speaking with a creator. We don't need to say the name, and they talked about how manga is so popular, and how you can just hand someone a manga and say, okay, like, this is where it starts, this is where it ends, and if you want to know what it's about, let me tell you. Um, Comic books are just not that linear. Like,
Yeah.
if you really love, let's say, Ultimate Spider-Man, right? You can absolutely read that from beginning to end with one singular consistent voice from the writing end, and less than 5 in the history of the book on the artistic end. Less than 5 artists, right? So that's a total package. But if you love Miles and want to continue past that, you can no longer read Brian Michael Bendis's version of the character, which might not resonate with you. Like, maybe you really love Miles, but it's only that version that you really love. Nobody else tells stories about Dragon Ball Z. You know what I'm saying? If you like Dragon Ball Z, it's because you specifically like Akira Toriyama, because that's his baby, right? But with Spider-Man, it's any number of hundreds of creators over the history. How do you sell that?
And you sell it through that creator. Like, it has to be somebody, and we talk about this all the time on, like, if you want to maybe launch or relaunch a character, or you're starting a new number one, like, you need to get that top tier creator to set the ground, to be the face of the book for maybe, sure, the first 5 issues, 6 issues, that first arc, before handing it off, because you need to build the fervor around it. But it's tied to the creator, not towards Spider-Man. Like, you'll have your baseline of people who are like, for sure, I'm all in on, the new Spider-Man book, but you'll mitigate the trickle off if you have somebody, or a set of creators at launch to solidify that.
Tyler, you want to weigh in?
No, sorry, I was just Googling something just for the future.
All right, wonderful. So I want to talk about what is absolutely the biggest announcement to come out of this event. On Thursday, the world learned of a new publisher, a new publishing imprint entering the fray. And that publisher is Ghost Machine.
No shit.
I went too ahead in the slides. I'm a bad moderator.
So I am sure that you have all heard of this by now. Social's been blowing up. There have been tons of articles written about it. This is the biggest thing happening in comics. Jeff Johns has teamed up with some of the biggest names in the industry of comics to jointly own and operate a publishing imprint called Ghost Machine, under Image Comics, similar to like a Skybound sort of thing.
An imprint kind of.
Yeah, it's its own company, but publishing rights are through Image.
Yeah. And so this is the roster as it is now, and it is going to expand. You got Jeff Johns, as we said, Brad Meltzer, Jason Fabok, Gary Frank, Brian Hitch, Lamont McGee, and Lamont McGee and Maital Jute, I think is how you say her name.
Correct.
Though they're both from television, so they're new to comics. But in addition to them, there's also Francis Manipul, Peter Tomasi, Brad Anderson, Rob Lee. Incredible.
Powerhouse. And we got a chance to go to that panel, and they were pumped. I think they were excited, and not because it was, yes, it was this new publishing line, but they're excited for their characters. They're excited for the stories that they're going to tell. And that immediately connected, I think, with everybody in the room. Was, yeah, they not only did they plan this out, but man, they're having a good time doing this. And I think that translates to the excitement as a reader, or as a prospective reader for these books. Geiger and Junkyard Joe, which Tristan in the chat mentioned, they like some of those things and would recommend you continue to read them. But yeah, like the stuff that's coming out looks cool.
Yeah, and shout out to a friend of the show, Victor Dandridge, for running that, for moderating that panel. Very, very good panel.
So we went to the panel for the Ghost Machine launch, and all the creators were there laying out the future of Ghost Machine, the why of Ghost Machine. And I think it was really insightful. So what this is it's going to be essentially 4 different universes of stories that don't necessarily converge, but it is, like 4 different houses of storytelling. So you have the Geigerverse and everything in that, including Junkyard Joe, Red Code, etc.
The Unnamed, I think, is the official.
The Unnamed. You have the Rook Exodus universe, which I actually have behind me. If you're watching us, I've got behind me the poster for Rook Exodus that they were giving away at the booth, the Ghost Machine booth, and it's signed by all the creators that I mentioned, except Brad Meltzer, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm very happy to have that. It's a super cool poster. You got to see the character designs for Rook Exodus. They look amazing.
Fabok does amazing, awesome work.
Well, I talked to Fabok about it, and he was just like, "Man, I'm excited just to draw animals." At the Ghost Machine booth, like all the creators were like really accessible too. Like they had signings throughout the weekend. There was some real excitement to the whole thing. And these Rook Exodus things are awesome. They talked about it being a post-apocalyptic world where everyone has a special helmet that's themed to an animal, which then lets them control said animal. Toyetic is the first word that comes to mind. These things are going to be awesome if they ever, try to make them into like a toy or something. But yeah, Rook Exodus looks cool. I'm a big Fabok fan, so
yeah. By the way, let's get the likes up. What are we doing? You guys want to draft or what? Man. Yes, we're doing the show at a weird hour. We're absolutely doing a draft. Let's get the likes up. There's a whole boatload of you watching us now. Let's get to 25 and then see what happens later. Hit that like button. Leave us a review on your podcast hosting platform of choice, wherever that might be. A 5-star review if we're talking Apple Podcasts, whatever the equivalent is, wherever else. You guys know how to support. So in addition to Rook Exodus, the Unnamed verse, Geiger verse, there's also the horror verse, which we really don't know too much about quite yet.
Do we know the name of the universe yet? It was X'd out, right?
Yeah, I don't think they announced the name of that. But there is going to be a horror aspect to this, and then there's also going to be like the family section, which is spearheaded by the Rocket Fellers, which is going to be by Pete Tomasi and Francis Manipul. That looks like a lot of fun. Yeah. It's like a family that is under like house arrest. They're they not house arrest, but what's the word I'm looking
Oh,
for?
witness protection.
Witness protection in the past. So they're from the future. They've been put in witness protection in the past, and so they're not allowed to do the things that they know that they can do, because it would expose them to everyone. So it's a pretty interesting concept. And quite frankly, everything that's been announced sounds really interesting. One of the things they highlighted was creator owned,
Mm.
creator first, and character. Character was a huge theme of the panel. They talked at length about why it was important to them to not only bring back a focus on characters, but a focus on genre as well. They talked about how genre was something that was lost to the industry, and how a lot of books now that are non-big two, they launch with concepts and plot is what is talked about, but character is not at the forefront of the importance of these books.
I
Yep.
thought that was interesting, the genre piece in particular, because it's something that I feel like I've experienced a lot, as especially as a new reader to superhero stuff. When I first started, was like, yeah, this stuff's cool, but it's sort of all encompassing. And as much as that is Western comics to whatever degree, I think looking towards adding to the diversity of content there and diversity of stories and the different kind of narratives and theming that just makes sense. It provides iteration. And frankly, I've been looking for like a Western or something for years, but where do you get that if not a Jonah Hex, which is a superhero book with a flavor of Western? Like those are the kind of things that this will more than likely address.
And Tomasi talked about, like he mentioned, like you used to be able to go to like newsstands and just pick whatever genre, like you said, Marco, like westerns or horror or whatever like that. And even by the books already that have been announced, it's evident that it's kind of going that way. You have the Rockefellers, which is like a family. One of the covers they showed at the panel, but that I couldn't find online, was an homage to Little Miss Sunshine's movie poster. So like that family drama dynamic in a book there. Then you have the horror line, which we're talking about. You have a sci-fi book with Rook Exodus and Geiger's post-apocalyptic action sort of thing, and Junkyard Joe is a post-war book.
Yeah.
The genre's already there in this, I guess, proto version of Ghost Machine, because this is all the stuff that is kind of like, we've already read Junkyard Joe, we've already read Geiger, so it's already been built and seeded for what's to come for the rest of the stuff.
I think that they're right in the sense that when I think about, like, if we talk about Nice House on the Lake, right? I challenge either one of you to tell me the name of one of the characters in that book outside of the alien dude, who I could.
Oh, I was gonna say Walter because I recognize that name.
Alvarez Martinez Bueno.
That is a good name for creating. I agree.
I've been saying it for a while. There are a lot of really great books on the stands. Like, it's endless. Almost every book is like pretty good. What makes it stand out anymore? I fall off with books all the time. Like Undiscovered Country, I love that book. I started it. I thought it was fantastic. I read like 10 issues. I think it like paused for a second, never went back to it.
And the character you can name from that is Uncle Sam, because that's a character,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you have heard of Geiger, the comic book, you know who the character is. You can't not know because it's in the name. It's the book is about him. The book is about his journey. The book has him in the title, just like Batman.
And they mentioned that not necessarily like in comparison to, but the names are right there. Geiger, you have Redcoat, like all of that exists. Whereas, let's say you have what was it, one of the like something that's killing the children. It's not in the title, right? So like who the individuals you have to remember apart from the title. It causes a bit of extra steps in order to remember things. But sometimes it's not about the characters; it's the premise. To your earlier point.
But I think what they're saying is that it's always about the premise now.
Right.
And it's like, I love the fact that the writers are trying to get their ideas over and absolutely do that. But I think if you want to have staying power, telling stories about characters that we can connect with
Mm.
is important.
And I also think the books within Ghost Machine are, we might have, mentioned that maybe one of the issues with superhero comics is that you don't get a continuous one vision story. But I think it was Brad Meltzer. He talked about how, he wants these characters to continue beyond this creative team. Like if Brad Meltzer creates a character, he wants it to be able to outlast him and have other people write that character down the line. I think the closest, I guess, thing I could think of that's similar to this Ghost Machine is the original Image launch, which is what they mentioned at the panel. Those, you had Spawn. Spawn is continuing sort of past McFarlane, but it's grown out. It's grown away from McFarlane. Maybe not the main Spawn title. McFarlane's still, putting in his Vince McMahon notes there. But yeah, there is a want to kind of have these characters outlast their creators in a way.
Yeah.
And it's interesting compared to manga where you mentioned it earlier, Tyler, it's a singular creator, it's a singular vision, and you don't expand beyond that. But the fact that they want to lay these out for that opportunity is novel. The Ghost Machine itself is a novel concept and how they're organizing, but the fact that they want to do this and then allow somebody to play in that sandbox is going to be really unique.
Yeah, I completely agree. Aaron Ruiz says, glad to see the creators excited about it. Nice that there seems to be a plan on it and their goals are set. Yes, exactly. The messaging is clear, okay? Listen, I love Distillery. Distillery is great. A lot of great creators over there who are friends of ours, people we like a lot, all right? But look at the messaging. Distillery's messaging was, hey, guys, we have creators that you like, right? They're going to write stories that you have no idea anything about. We're going to tell you the premise, but I'm sure you don't remember it anymore. And we're going to sell you on a digital marketplace that smells like NFT, even if it's not. And the whole thing feels very corporate, right? Like just because it's not Spider-Man or Batman doesn't mean it's not corporate comics. So I'm not saying that those people don't have the best intentions. I'm just saying that it smells like things we already have with a different packaging. Whereas Ghost Machine feels like something that we don't really have. Because Image is not what it was. Image isn't just Spawn anymore or those characters. It's expanded beyond that. Ghost Machine feels like what the Image founders did way back when, and this is something that creators should do. One of our biggest criticisms of the Distillery announcement, at least one of mine, was you guys should do this. I said exactly that. You don't need the Comixology people to be the people that are on Front Street. You don't need them to be the people that are giving you the money. You don't need to seek outside funding. Do it yourselves. Bet on you. They didn't do that. Ghost Machine's doing that.
Yeah. A good lesson learned.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited. We know we're getting a lot of stuff. I think April is when the big thing kicks off. That's when we're gonna get the Ghost Machine one shot, I believe. We are getting the Geiger Ground Zero in November. Ghost Machine #1 drops in January, actually, and that's where we're gonna get a look at the these different shared universes. We're also going to see first Ghost, which is by Brad Meltzer, and that's going to be a ghost that haunts the White House. So that's kind of interesting.
That sounds real to me, honestly. That sounds like an actual thing.
Yeah. It probably is. I'm all in. It's going to be a lot of fun.
100%.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
I'm excited for this. It's the enthusiasm was palpable in there.
Yeah.
And
I think one of the, especially this past summer with the SAG strikes still ongoing and the WGA strikes, having creators actually have a company where they don't have a boss to actually talk to is nice. You know,
They're the
if they want to
boss.
do something, they can do it. You know, if they want their character to maybe do something that's maybe a little more outside of the box, they don't have anyone to talk to besides themselves, really. So it's a lot more collaborative, which is it's nice to see.
Um, Eamon Perez in the chat says, "Is Spawn still relevant though? No disrespect." The answer is yeah.
Very, very
Like,
much so.
like there's a part of comics that's not necessarily as online or not necessarily as vocal, but Spawn is still super relevant. I mean, McFarlane did $1 million Kickstarter in 2020 with Spawn, 2020, 2021, whatever that was, with Spawn. You know, Image has expanded the Spawn verse because of the popularity. Spawn Universe #1 sold a bajillion copies. So you know, even though Spawn's not in the conversation, he's very, very relevant. Yeah,
Continues to be. Yeah.
yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and sometimes it can be a little echo chambery with the comics fandom, like just because we may not be the hottest on it here, that stuff is still a money pusher.
And I love Spawn. We just don't get to review it, but I love Spawn.
Whose idea was that?
Tom Account says, "Don't you think keeping a regular schedule is essential? Lessons learned from the 90s that sunk books almost from the start." Yes, it definitely is. And I think having the backing of Image, which is a machine unto itself, means that we're not going to see those kind of problems because Image is a superior company to the one that it was in the 90s, certainly, because it's not just run by a bunch of dudes who want to tell cool stories. And so because they do have that, but they have their autonomy, I think we will get a company that will, push books out at a regular cadence, and be successful on that level.
And in the panel, Jeff mentioned, this is a priority. Like he even apologized. He's like, "Yeah, that's why JSA is a little delayed because this is the priority. It's not just a society."
And you go ahead, Marco.
Sorry, and one of the things in the same panel that all of them, the writers and artists included, there was all sort of Jeff coming together with the ideas and saying, what if we did this thing? What if we decided to join forces, and how do we best put our best foot forward there, and what are the structures needed in place? And it all just started because he's like, we could do something different here. We have the opportunity. Let us take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. Marowaka Skuro asks, will they be miniseries or regular? The indication seems to be that these are ongoing.
We did get the confirmation in this Pop Sean that once Geiger comes back with a new #1, that is an ongoing book going forward. So
yeah, super, super exciting to me. I love Geiger. And I'd like to say, like, we did get to meet Jeff Johns. You guys know we've done a couple of interviews with him. We did get to meet him in person, and that was pretty cool. And there's a lot of stuff with that we absolutely cannot talk about. All good, all positive. But what's so cool for me, and I'm sure you guys would say the same, is that before all that shit started happening, we were already fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got on this podcast and we reviewed Geiger, and I loved it. I
think that was even before I was on the show, right? When did Geiger
That was
come
before
out?
you were here. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Was that long ago?
Yeah. And I read it. If I was reading a book before I had to read a book, yeah, that's I enjoyed it.
And same with Junkyard Joe, man. Like that was frankly phenomenal.
Junkyard Yo, yeah.
Like, what?
I was gonna say I gotta tell Jeff to put out that merch, Junkyard Yo merch. So
for the hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so love the Ghost Machine stuff. We'll definitely be reviewing this stuff when it starts to drop. Again, the Geiger Ground Zero stuff starts in November, so we'll be in on the ground floor on that.
Ghost Machine #1, January.
Yeah. So that's where we're going to leave it for our like reflections on the event. If you want to read more, we'll talk more about the event, but we're going to like move on from this particular piece. But if you want to read more about my perspective on our experience, you can do that at patreon.com/thecomicspals. For absolutely free. It is a 4-part blog that I have done for you guys. Again, totally free. Just wanted to let you guys in on what our experience was. And I talked about things that we didn't even get to here. So you can check that out. Also, on our Patreon page, of course, if you want to subscribe and support, we absolutely appreciate that. We have gone hard for you. We went hard for you this weekend.
Pause again, Sean.
Tyler, I mean, what's the big deal, man? I'm rapping to the people.
Comics Pals late night. Let's go.
Oh, man. We went hard for you this summer or this weekend. Yeah, this summer.
that is very true.
Yeah, that too. And, we do that every single week, quite frankly, because, yeah, we've got an exclusive show, Palling Around, that you've probably never heard. We do weekly blogs, newsletters, that are, available. And everybody's favorite, you can get a nickname and a shout out on this very show. So with that, I would love to say thank you, a special shout out to the best pals in the universe, Thunderstruck, Rebecca Alejandro, and the Hound of Justice, Atomic Hound. And of course, thank you to the Night Stalker, Harris Dajinski. Great to see you, bud, at Comic-Con.
He night stalked us.
Yes, he did. Brian Demolisher, Del Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Starcross Catherine Stars, Dan the Truth Trudeau, Joel Justice, Jalen the Sanguine Sorcerer, Neon Knight Cosmic Avenger, Marvelous Mike and Mackenzie, and Marley Manastorm. I missed the episode where she got her superhero nickname, but welcome.
She responded. She was a fan.
Oh,
really cool.
Did she? Okay, cool. I didn't see it. I must have missed it. That's cool. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Watch this show live at its regular time. Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern for Pals Polls. Vote in the listener pick poll over on youtube.com/thecomicspals, which is also where you would watch the show. Hit the community tab to see the listener pick poll and cast your vote. If you want to watch our interviews from New York Comic Con, by the way, they're rolling out. We've already got a few up there, but they'll be rolling out throughout the week until we've got no more. So just keep looking at that or look at our social there as well. Join us on Discord. We're always having a fun conversation over there. Like we said earlier, it was popping off this weekend due to Comic-Con. Everybody keeping up with the news is always a lot of fun. And last thing I'll plug before we move forward is our next book club. With New York Comic Con behind us, that is what we are now focused on. Our first live book club in the history of the show will be on Monday, October 30th, and we will be talking about Batman The Long Halloween. Can't wait for that.
Spooky.
The day before Halloween, too. So
yeah,
you can listen to it on Halloween.
Extra spooky.
We'll all be in costume.
You better be.
We did not talk about it beforehand.
I will not be in costume.
Just making statements.
Shit, I'm in costume right now as the world's biggest Jean Grey fan. Can you see this shit?
At Comic-Con, Sean's like, man, I want to take a picture with a Jean Grey. And not enough this year.
Dude, but you know what happened while I was in line with my girlfriend to get something? I saw a Jean Grey and a Cyclops. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to talk to them because I was with my girlfriend. And then the Jean Grey actually pointed me out and said, hey, sir. And I turned around and she was like, oh, you have great taste. And I was like, yes, thank you.
And you slowly looked like the Animorph book cover into Wolverine is what you...
I grew a second dick. That's what happened.
That is
never.
It is late night. Jeez, Sean.
Yeah. I will not be in costume, Catherine. That is one thing I cannot do. Eamon Perez in the chat says, is the live book club a one-time thing? No, it is not. That is the new format for the book club going forward. And we will keep you guys up to date on what the books will be. The way you get to vote for which book, because we don't choose, it's you guys that choose. That's another Patreon perk. So we appreciate everybody that joins us over there, and we need more voters. So yeah, hang out with us on that end. Aaron Ruiz says, main thing from NYCC, a Tyler plus Chip podcast episode may slap. Thank you guys for the coverage and interviews. You're very welcome.
Man, I would totally love to do a Howard the Duck retrospective.
Oh,
history of the duck.
Yeah.
The untold story of the duck.
Oh, would love it. Would kill for it.
So before we get into all of the huge announcements and talking about everything else that came out of NYCC, we do have a little countdown that we are in the middle of. Yes, I am talking about our top 5 Batman comics. Now, I am up to number 3. I'm going to be giving my 3rd. We all should be. But Tyler, you got to give your 5 and 4.
I'm ready now. I prepped.
Okay, and Marco, you're on your 3rd.
I'm on my 4th.
So 4 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So
okay. That actually works
Tyler,
out.
you start us. You do your 5 and 4. All right, and then Marco, you'll give your 4, and then we'll.
Cool. So much like Batman, I need prep time, but I got it. I got it. So number 5, kind of a surprising one, honestly. As I was looking through like a list of some good Batman stories, one that jumped out to me, and it's probably the most recent on my list. It definitely is the most recent. Is Batman Universe by Brian Michael Bendis and Nick Darrington. That was the Walmart Batman story that essentially had Batman traveling throughout space and time with Green Arrow, Green Lantern. I think Jonah Hex was a story as well in that, but it was all drawn beautifully by Nick Darrington. And this being, in a time where the, Batman is, doing normal Batman stuff where it's a little quote unquote grim dark, where, everything's in gloomy Gotham. Darrington just drew a happy Batman. It felt more like Batman Brave and the Bold, which is one of my favorite comic books of all time, or comic book cartoons of all time. And then my number 4 is Batman R.I.P. by Grant Morrison and Tony Daniel, I believe, was the main artist on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. With some was Alex Ross covers as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's what got me into Batman as a monthly comic. Blew my mind. Great stuff.
Can I just intervene to say, chat, if you guys are following along with us, and listeners, regardless of if you're in the chat or not, if you're following along with us, I want to see your top 5. I'd love it if everybody every week sends their next pick to us. And let's do this whole thing together. It's so much fun. On our Discord server, people have been sharing theirs as well, and I'm loving that. I feel like this is inspiring people to take a look back at some of their favorite Batman books. So let's keep that whole thing going. Marco, how about your 4th, man?
So my 4th is Year One. It's a solid book. When
Batman Year One, solid book.
It's good. I think when I had read it, there was a lot of hype around it. I had read it earlier in my, I guess, comics reading career, where I was, you get all the big titles and the big names because you're trying to just expose yourself to the characters in the world, and it got hyped up. And I might have seen the movie first, the animated movie, and then gone back to read it, and it was good. But I think I had a bigger expectation, and that might have colored my opinion of it. And anytime I've gone back to it, it's only ever just been that. It hasn't ever, I haven't gotten anything more out of it since maybe my 2nd or 3rd reading.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
For a top 5, that's the most negative. It turns out Marco's only read 5 Batman stories.
There are other things that are, I think, of Batman that are more emblematic of the character.
So then why the hell is this in your top 5?
Because it's number 4. There are 3 other books that I think do a better job.
Number 5, It's Okay.
Number 4, I've read better.
Sean, can you do a whole episode on that voice? I like that.
Yes, I can.
Sound like
Yes,
Tom
I
Likas.
can.
You know what I'm talking about.
And frankly, my pick 3
Go for it.
is The Long Halloween. A lot of fun, great art, and that one I always have fun with. It's and we're gonna be doing it for the book club, so it's perfect.
I am on bated breath to eventually find out what your top 2 are.
They're pretty, you know.
Are they good? Do you know the direction of a top 10, like a top 5 list?
Well, I don't think
You
they're
just,
good.
I don't think you
they're-
like Batman, Marco.
He said, I don't think they're good.
No, I said they're good. I said they're good.
Oh, they're good? They're
Marco
just
went,
good.
Marco
They're
went in
just good.
ascending
They're just-
instead of descending.
Oh, my
Yeah, the
God.
search filter's all messed up.
Oh, my God.
Watch his
man.
number one, all-star Batman and Robin. I will
Wow.
say, Dark Knight Strikes Back was in the running. I do enjoy that book.
That's a tough one.
Oh my God! Yeah, see, and Aaron Ruiz is absolutely right. If he has Hush over year 1, oof, I know it. I
Look at that
fucking know
freaking
it.
face.
I know it. Look at that face. That's the face of a man who was called out.
Yo, shut up. Don't put me on blast like that.
With his-
Now I gotta
his-
think of a whole other thing just so I don't damage my fucking reputation out here.
With his
Jesus.
straw hat, looking like a One Piece character from Cuba.
Mugi Wadamarco.
Tyler, why don't you give us your third?
My third is The Dark Knight Returns. Solid book. No, it's it's the definitive telling of Batman, and kind of solidified not only Batman comics going forward, but comic books in general going forward. It is a nexus event, to put it into MCU terms, for comic books. And I love the mutant gangs. They're very prominent nips. I don't know why that was a point that Miller needed to stress, but
I don't know why that was a point you needed to stress right now.
Comics Pals late night, baby.
That's because they were pointy.
By the way, I see you guys. I see all you people watching. Let's hit that like button. You know the routine. We have a draft to do. It's a fun one. And I guarantee this right now. This is what I guarantee. I guarantee that this is a draft that is going to have the chat struggling to come up with even 4 today. I guarantee you. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want you to go and look it up so that you can up show me. Wait until we get to that, and I guarantee you're going to be fucking lost.
I'm already struggling on that one, and I prepped it.
Listen, I don't even know if I have 4, but we'll get to that.
Oh, thank God,
We'll
it's
get to
only
that.
4. Jesus.
Sean,
Maybe
you're
it'll be
3.
5. I don't know.
What's your number 3?
Sorry?
Sean? Your number 3?
Oh, yeah. My number 3 is a book that's okay, just okay. Batman Year One.
Hey, whoa, hold on. Hey, whoa. It's only one off of mine.
No. But what was funny about yours wasn't where it ranked. It was
Yeah.
how you talked about it based
Yeah.
on where it ranked.
It's like, what are your favorite foods? I don't know. This one tastes like crap, but
But bananas.
Oh man. Yeah. So Year One is probably one of the first Batman books that I ever read. And I actually didn't like it that much when I first read it. But the longer that I've been a comic book fan and the more times that I've gone back to it, the more I see the brilliance and what was being executed so well becomes clearer to me the more I understand the medium. So to me, this is a definitive, not just a definitive Batman story, but a definitive comic book story that you can honestly hand to any Batman fan at any time, and they're probably going to love it. It's that damn good. So Tyler, did I upstage Marco on that or what?
I mean, you're all right.
Kind of mid.
Oh my God. All right. Let's see what the chat, let's see where you guys are at. Where we at? Atomic Hound says number 3 is the Dark Knight Returns. Okay. Eamon Perez. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you still read DKR as Dark Knight Rises?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I do
I
too.
always have to like mentally correct
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I heard your pause, and I was like, oh, he's doing the same thing I do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Haman Perez said Batman Ego's number 3. That's cool. I haven't read Ego. That's one I got to get to. Year 2 must be your number 2 then, right, Sean? Yeah. No, actually, that's my number 1. My number 1 is my least favorite Batman book. That's
The
the
old Marco
Marco
method, I see.
Yeah, the Marco method.
Don't be crapping my style like that.
All right. Well then, let's shift gears from the Batman to the Superman. DC had some big announcements to make about Superman at New York Comic Con 2023. The primary one being that we are entering the age of the Superman superstars. What the hell does that mean, you ask?
Yes.
Let me tell you. Yeah, I mean, trust me, I think we're all asking.
Yes, I do. I did not keep up to date on news, so.
Okay. Well, so what's happening is Action Comics is going to be, in this Superman Superstars storyline where we're going to see Jason Aaron, who is the most recent major signee from DC, taking over and sharing writing duties with Joshua Williamson.
Oh.
Yep. So they're going to split arcs. Jason Aaron is going to be working with John Timms. First up on a 3-issue story called I, Bizarro, which is going to run in Action Comics 1061 to 1063. Jason Aaron said, "The amazing John Timms and I are doing our very best to give readers a Superman tale full of action and surprises, the most bizarro of all the bizarro stories, and what Bizarro himself would call the worst Bizarro story ever told."
That's good.
Which, of course, if you know Bizarro speak, that means one of the best. Oh, the best Bizarro story ever told.
I love that character, and the fact that this is the opening is a good way to, I feel like, maybe to decompress, especially coming off of the 1060, however that sort of will wrap up and do. I think it's always a good idea to have a small beat and allow the writer to acclimate and the readers to acclimate to the to said writer.
And then in April, we're going to see Joshua Williamson and Rafa Sandoval team up to tell the story of Brainiac. They're bringing Brainiac back, who they've been teasing. Brainiac's been teased for a while now, and now they're finally going to bring him back, and it's going to be like a crossover between Williamson's story in Action Comics and his story in Superman, which he will still be writing in this new era. What this also means is that Philip Kennedy Johnson is off Action Comics.
Flub. That's a misstep, in my opinion.
If you want to know why Marco thinks it's a misstep and why we enjoy Philip Kennedy Johnson, check out our New York Comic Con interview that Sean did. plug.
Good stuff.
It's crazy because in that interview, I tell him that he's the reason I'm a Superman fan. I've said it for years on this podcast. Can't connect to Superman. Don't get it. Don't understand why everybody loves him so much. Now I do, and it's because of what PKJ has done. The literal next day from when we did that interview is when this announcement came out.
Yeah, that sucks. And especially considering what he's done with the character. And similarly, I think when he started his War World stuff, I didn't expect to be like, oh, let me check it out. I like Philip Kennedy Johnson enough. He did some cool stuff with Last Gods. He did at that time, I think he was finishing up that first or second arc on Alien. But you know what? I like this guy. Let's see what he can say. And shit, he had good stuff to say. And with him off, realistically, this is enough to be like, I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up, because I came for Philip Kennedy Johnson.
So question, Sean. Since this is Action Comics, it will be bouncing back and forth between Aaron and Williamson.
Mhm.
Williamson's writing Superman currently, isn't he?
Yep.
So he's doing double duty now for Superman.
Yep.
Hmm.
His
Hey,
his Brainiac story is gonna cross. It's gonna be a crossover
got it. Okay,
between. Yeah.
that's okay. That makes more sense. I don't know why they couldn't just have one person do Superman, one person do Action Comics. Pardon me for making sense, but
Probably because Jason Aaron is going to also be. He's got a Batman book that he's going to be doing. Off World, Batman Off World, I believe it's called. And so there are probably other projects that they want him on. So I'm assuming that it's because they both have busy schedules.
I mean, I gotta say, Jason Aaron's needed a change of scenery in terms of his comics for a while now. So him at DC is interesting to me. Am I excited? I'm not sure yet, but it's definitely interesting.
Can I ask why you wouldn't be as enthused as maybe like another writer?
Avengers, I think, is the reason. I think it's one of those things where he might have been too long in the tooth at Marvel and Avengers. That once he left, it was more of like a whimper, you know.
Mm.
The heat's already gone for me at this point, and he's not really doing much creator owned. He's doing the end of the world or something like that. So there's not much heat there to be like, oh, look at this exclusive we got, this real hot writer. It's more like this used to be hot writer is now at DC. I think it's a big deal that Jason Aaron's back at DC. That's a big deal. Aaron was a Marvel guy. He was one of the Marvel guys. So it's still big. But it is, for me, it's a, let's see, sort of thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. This is not what I want. I thought Williamson's Superman proper book was solid. But I liked having both flavors. And now it feels like I'm losing one flavor outright and I'm getting one that I still like, but then one that I'm not so sure about. It doesn't feel like a level up. For me, because I've been loving what PKJ has been doing so much. But of course, we'll probably give Aaron's run a shot and maybe it'll be good. Who knows?
Yeah, hopeful regardless.
And could
Yeah.
free PKJ up for something else that could be unexpected. So
I mean, his Hulk stuff, right? You keep trucking along on those things. Like, yeah, give us more.
We definitely know that Philip Kennedy Johnson is not done with Superman. He said as much in his like farewell announcement. He's just done writing these titles, so I'm assuming that whatever they're going to announce next with him will involve Superman. My thought is Justice League.
I'm with that. I'm with
If
that.
if that's the case, I'm in. That's an upgrade.
One of the strengths I think he's had is that he writes a good ensemble.
Yeah.
War World it was essentially a Justice League book, just with Superman being the only real Justice League member. It was his authority, but it was a team book, is what it was. Yeah, no, I like that idea.
Sniff what you're stepping.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Tyler, I don't know if I skipped this, but or if I include a slide for it, but I want to talk about it. Keith Giffen. Keith Giffen, unfortunately passed away. We actually lost him on Wednesday. So like Comic-Con Eve, if you will. We lost an absolute legend. And it's not funny that he died. It's horrible that he died. But he went out his own way. He passed at 70, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but
Yeah,
a tweet came out. I think it was a tweet,
Facebook.
or rather a
It was Facebook,
Facebook
yeah.
page or Facebook post came out, that said, "quote I told them I was sick. Anything not to go to New York Comic Con. Thanks, Keith Giffen, 1952 to 2023. Blah ha 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 ha.
What a guy.
And
What a guy."
yeah, Marie Jabins even in her talk at the industry panel the day afterwards, mentioned Keith and talked about him a bit. So everyone only had good things to say about him. Probably one of the most well-known creators out there. I mean, like his Justice League International, it probably influenced a majority of the creators we have currently. It was such a revolutionary thing for a superhero book to do at the time. Yeah, it's Lobo as well.
Rocket.
Yeah, helped make Rocket Raccoon. Yeah, real influential.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Keith passing at 70 is like, realistically, like he probably could have done even more if he was still creatively inclined, which I think when you have a mind like that, it never stops working.
Yeah.
But everybody who talked about him, said that he was a smart guy, incredibly smart, incredibly creatively inclined. Everyone said like, when you would speak with him and his mouth would open, it was like a fountain of creativity opening up for you. He had deals of ideas and ways to sell comics and things like that. Um, I think I heard a story where he said something to the effect of, I think a relaunch was happening, and he made the ending so hot so that people would have to pick up the next, so that people would want to jump onto the relaunch. Just things like that, just really, really forward thinking. Um, and he's one of the creators who we owe the industry to.
And even like his art style, man, this dude was versatile. You know, he could switch styles for whatever book he was on.
And he would write too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
Like
yeah.
double duty. Like you don't. I think you don't find those kinds of creators very often, and so to lose one with that versatility is a shame. With and 70, man, that's still young, dude.
exactly. Yeah, and that's the sad part about it. But I appreciate a person who lives life on their own terms, and it seems like he did that. So thank you, Keith. Thank you for all your contributions to the industry. And I think the industry still being here and so many people being inspired by you is a testament to quality of your character and your work. So thank you. Now, DC made another major announcement this weekend, which was that they're also relaunching something. Marvel's got the Ultimate Universe that they're relaunching. DC is relaunching the Elseworlds line in 2024.
Let's go.
Let's go, yeah? You excited?
I like when you get a story that's outside of continuity or in its own sort of world. It allows. I've always thought that it should be something taken advantage of from a publisher. Give somebody who maybe has a really hot idea, let them tell their story without it affecting main continuity. You can kind of have your cake and eat it too. And we've had conversations in the past about how maybe sometimes that backfires, but for it to be a place for creative play, I think is advantageous.
Do you have a favorite Elseworlds story?
Um, there's some Asriel stuff that's interesting.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And that was always fun. Some older '90s stuff that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like they have like it's not Elseworlds in the terms of the label of it all, but like Dark Knights of Steel would have been an Elseworlds book, you know, DC versus Vampires would have been an Elseworlds book. So it kind of just seems like a natural direction for them to take, you know, to just bring it back proper, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, one way to bring it back with more Batman, but whatever.
So we learned about um Dark Knights of Steel All Winter, which is a Deathstroke centric miniseries. We
Looks
learned
nice,
about
dude. It's Deathstroke as Kratos essentially.
I love that.
Yeah.
I wish I talked to Tom about this, man. I wanted to dig into this so bad because he's not writing it, and Yasmin's not the one drawing it, so it's in their sandbox, but other people are playing with it.
They're not working on this?
Not from what I had initially read. I thought it was a totally
Yeah,
different creative
it's
team.
written by Jay Kristoff
Yeah.
and art by Tirso Khans.
Right.
New to
Interesting.
DC for both of them.
Yeah, so which was like to your point, Tyler, like this would have been that Elseworlds book, but then they're not going with that same creative team, which is I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't mind making it like the Dark Knights of Steel world its own thing and let people play in that sandbox. You know, it's a rich enough world.
Yeah, potential.
We're also getting DC versus Vampires, World War V, Green Lantern Dark, which for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while and remember the 5G files, please tell me that your alarm bells weren't going off. This is
Yeah.
this is literally what my man not
Didio.
Lemire. So
No.
yeah. What'd you
Didio?
say? Not Didio. Shoot, I can't remember his name.
Was it not Lemire?
I think it was Lemire.
It was Lemire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Lemire was spilling tea on 5G.
Yeah, this is what Lemire was working on. Was a Green Lantern Dark book that would sort of feature the tangent version of Green Lantern. So I'm happy that this is kind of happening, but mostly just because it's something that I know from the 5G files. But I wish it was Lemire doing it.
Yeah, this one's by Tate Bromble, who is working on that Christopher
Chaos.
Christopher Chaos, yeah. With Werther Deladera on art.
Who is an artist that works with James Tynion.
Sure, yeah. Tynion, he keeps his people fed.
Yep, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
He came from the school of Scott Snyder, who does the same thing. Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age, which is a 12-issue series that's going to be by Andy Diggle and Leandro Fernandez.
Hey,
oh, yeah, it's about Batman telling you that you're just crazy and what you feel isn't actually truth.
In the Kryptonian Age.
Yeah.
And Batman the Barbarian from Greg Smallwood.
Oof.
Man, and Tyler, we talked about this when the news dropped. I don't know if I feel like Smallwood's the guy for this kind of story. Like, I love his art, but he's just he comes off as more pulpy and Barbarian. Actually, you know what? I take it all back.
Did you read Lemire's Moon Knight with Greg Smallwood?
I loved it.
How was that
amazing.
pulp?
Well, fair enough. I don't know. There's something about it, that announcement, and like I'd have to see it, and like looking at the art, it looks wild.
Yeah, it does look good.
But I want to see it in play.
And we're also getting Batman Nightfire by Clay and Seth Mann.
Clayman.
Who's Seth?
I feel like there's a lot of like brothers getting jobs in comics now. Wes Craig's brother Drew Craig he's got a book through Image.
You got Sean Bartley and Bean.
That's
no, that's cousin. That's a cousin. Sorry.
He doesn't work in comics. You know what? This is fine. I don't really get what the difference is between this and Black Label.
That's a good point.
I feel like DC doesn't really do a great job of branding this kind of stuff. I think it's overstuffed because we already have Black Label. But again, Tyler said it accurately that they already are publishing this kind of thing. But I think choose an umbrella title for it and like put it all under that. Why are these not Black Label books? What's the differentiator?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's they're not even like all of them are still Batman. Like,
right.
I don't. Maybe it's formatting. Black Label will be the magazine style, but that is such an obtuse distinction.
Yeah.
That digital ignores. So,
I have grown to have a bit of a disdain for those books, quite frankly. I mean, they're not storable in the same way that all my other comic books are. And quite frankly, I don't finish most of them. Like, I buy the first one and I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. And then I just don't follow up.
I like the one with Batman's wiener showing, but
Yeah, that was a good one. You can show a penis in Elseworlds.
I know. So Almond spelled it with one extra N, and I read it as penis, and it just made it funnier.
You can show a penis.
It's very Steve Brule of you.
Oh man. Yeah, this is cool. This is fine. It's just more DC stuff.
Number 4, Elseworlds.
Just
Number 4,
okay.
Kingdom Come. Decent.
Passable.
Okay, Anthony Fantano.
That Alex Rose guy or whatever his name is. He's all right.
Oh man. So DC is doing something that I think is a lot more interesting than bringing back Elseworlds. Personally,
Is it?
to me?
Okay.
To me,
I forgot to get a
So-
slide for this, so apologies.
that's okay. They're publishing a faux simile version of A Death in the Family. So what does that mean?
It's pronounced facsimile.
Marco, read the
Wow.
show notes next time.
Oh no! I know. I interjected just for that.
So everybody knows the story of A Death in the Family, which is, of course, where Jason Todd was killed by the Joker. What some people know is that this was voted on by the readers. 10,000 plus readers, allegedly, put in votes to determine if Jason, a child, essentially at the time, a teenager, would live or die. And these sadistic comic book fans, these sick freaks,
Including Dan Trudeau, I believe, right?
I think so.
yeah.
Or yeah.
Comic Hound.
These individuals voted for Jason Todd to be killed by the Joker.
35 cents, according to him.
But what a lot of people don't know is that because of the fact that, they couldn't get the results in and then do the ending, then do the book, they had to print 2 versions. They had to make 2 versions, write and draw 2 versions.
What?
And so, of course, once it was announced that the fans wanted to give Jason Todd the old axe, or in this case, the
Crowbar.
the crowbar, it never saw the light of day. And now DC is putting out a faux simile edition of that very issue, Batman 426. Or rather, 428, excuse me. 428.
And you're more excited about this than Elseworlds?
Yep.
I like the idea of this, that it was still made, and that we're finally getting to see it. I feel like there was like a new intern at DC's offices who like opened like a dusty drawer of like, what is this? And they're like, oop, here's my chance to get an idea out there.
Well, you know why I like it? I'm into it because I don't buy those facsimile books, but this is one where it's like, actually, I'm going to get this because this feels like a loss to comics history because it really is a thing. It's not like they're going back and reimagining, oh, well, it's not a what if. And it's not a new what if, I guess. And it wasn't written as a what if. It was written as a potentially a possible future for DC that was reasonable at that time. The vote could have gone the other way, and we'd be talking about a faux simile edition where Jason gets killed. But I don't know. I'm gonna pick this up.
It's interesting as like a good one-shot concept. And you know what? If it goes beyond that, I think they're really stretching this for what it is. But if it's a fun little 1-2, maybe you get to learn what happens after. Like he grows up and he goes to college, like okay.
That's what's gonna happen.
I don't know, man. He's alive now. He has potential.
We're only getting one issue though, so it's not like we're ever gonna we're not gonna get like a real long story on it.
Yeah.
It won't be a full what if. It'll just be the next issue.
What if he just like retires after a few years? He's like, actually, I want to be a dentist.
The old Hermie the Elf method.
What?
How young are you, Marco? Jesus.
Hermie
Dude,
the
I don't
elf?
even know what that is.
Where?
Hermie the elf that wants to be a dentist from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Rankin and Bass.
Oh,
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine.
Um Bad ending. Jason Todd lives. Damn. I don't know. If I were alive at that time, I would have voted for him to live, I feel.
Jason Todd would too.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people would have voted for Cy Spurrier and Aaron Campbell to reunite on John Constantine Hellblazer if they could vote for the creative team.
Mm. Sean would vote Psy off, but I think the wrong decision for that.
You
And
know
I would
what?
vote for this book.
Huh? What's
I
that?
would vote for this book. I had to go in the opposite direction.
I wouldn't vote against this book. You know why? Because just because it's not for me, I know that I don't care about Constantine even a little bit, but I know a lot of people do. So if this is for you, more power to you. And I would vote for it.
So good. So good.
You're muted.
Did you look at the cover, Marco? Did you notice who's there?
No, I didn't even know they released that. I thought it was just an announcement. I haven't seen the cover.
There's 2 characters behind Constantine that you might be interested in. It's on the stream if you want to watch our stream.
Whoa! Yo, is that Sandman?
Yeah, I know you saw Swamp Thing right away. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
did,
that's
I
also
did,
a
yeah.
dream.
Yeah, okay, wait, okay. But the Nightmare Country stuff or the Sandman stuff is separate. Oh,
I
no, but
believe
lives
this is
under
its
that.
own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but didn't it live under the Sandman universe at some point?
The
Do you think
Constantine book?
Hellblazer did? Yeah.
Hellblazer did, yeah.
But I think this is like the end story of what he wanted to tell. Yeah.
Okay. Yo, hype.
Yeah. So we learned that it's gonna be a black label book.
Oh.
A DC Black Label Sandman Universe series.
It's got 3. What is the trade dressing going to look like on this thing?
DC BLSU.
DC got a BBL? What?
So it's called John Constantine. It's called DC Black Label Sandman Universe John Constantine Hellblazer Dead in America.
Launches the first Elseworlds title.
It's an 8-issue book that's going to be coming out in January. And again, it spins out of the book that they worked on, back in the day. Look, I couldn't care less about this, except to say that I'm happy for those who this is for. The art's going to be great. I'm sure of that because Aaron Campbell is super talented. And in the one issue of their run that I did read, it was beautiful. It looked great.
Oh, that's right. Cale made you read it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, we did see Aaron Campbell at New York Comic Con, and man, that guy's art is, whoo,
Yep.
good stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. It's also Constantine in America, right? So a whole new spin on it, which maybe a little wary because it is a guy who's not American, but writing it. But we'll see. There's already a double-decker bus on it going to Hollywood, so I'm confused. But
Oh, but
it's good.
Sai is a good voice for the character.
oh, I agree. I think his Constantine voice is appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coming in January. So if you're into this, you don't have too long to wait. And that's one of the nice things about New York Comic Con is that like most of the announcements are just around the bend. So we don't have to wait much longer for most of this. Go ahead, Ty.
I was gonna say like San Diego Comic Con comic announcements are weird because nobody really wants to launch stuff now. It's New Year when they want to launch stuff. So New York Comic Con always has some good news.
Yeah, like they're always in the middle of an event because it's the summer.
Yeah.
So speaking of announcements, we got a huge announcement, a surprise announcement. We got an announcement of a new book, a new comic coming from Scott Snyder and Tom Hardy.
Venom?
Yes, Venom, Bane, Snyder, and Tom Hardy have a lot in common because they're both, they both worked on Batman.
Huh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Dark Knight DKR.
yeah, exactly. One of the best on-screen Batman villains of all time. I'm taking no questions at this particular moment. Thank you, Tyler.
Number 4, Bane.
Frank Thierry, and Ryan Smallman of Fortnite art fame are going to be teaming up with the aforementioned Snyder and Hardy for Arcbound, which is a 12-issue limited series that's going to launch in 2024. And they immediately talked about wanting to create an Arcbound universe.
Excuse me?
Yeah, they wasted no time at all to talk about that. Scott Snyder told THR, Arcbound is set apart not just by its original concept and narrative, but also by the team that's breathing life into it. Frank is one of the best storytellers I know. His imaginative talent is amazing, but he's also an incredible structuralist. Ryan's style is so kinetic, so full of energy and passion, and Tom has been responsible for bringing some of my favorite characters to life on the screen. He's a true creative force. So having the chance to work with all three of them in building a world and a story of this scope is hugely exciting because Arcbound is not just a comic, it's a narrative expression reflecting our times.
It's not just a comic, Sean. It's a lifestyle.
This feels like when a startup gets made in tech and they say all these buzzwords to explain what they're doing, and the company goes under in 2 years.
Yeah.
This cannot have, this has negative buzz for me. I have no, like, Tom Hardy's fine, but like number 4 Tom Hardy, he doesn't do much for me. Like, he's an actor. This is, yeah, Amin Perez in the chat says, is this another Berserk? It smells like it. It smells like celebrity cashing in on the comic book IP farm. And then, yeah, Snyder's on it because it's good buzz, and I'm sure he gets a nice paycheck from it. But it even looks. The cover of this book looks like when a movie has a comic book in the movie, and they hire someone to make what the cover would look like in the movie, but it's not actually a comic book. That's kind of what it feels like.
Well, and also, what is the creative delegation here? Because Frank Thierry's writing. Scott talked about how great Frank Thierry is. Are they splitting writing duties? Do we know? Is this just Scott's name on it? Was it like Scott and Tom worked out what the sort of the idea was, and then they got Frank Thierry to write it out and Ryan Smallman to draw it? Is that the idea? Because that's not that attractive. I'm sorry.
If it's an idea that Hardy had and was just like, hey, I think this is really cool, you guys should do this. I don't know the workflow for this, right? But that's not exciting. Like, yeah, Scott's on it, Terry's on it, but this is going to be, it feels like they're going to be maybe picking up slack or doing work from somebody else just to output.
Is this going to be Kickstarted, Sean?
That was not stated. There was no announcement of.
It does feel like somebody, like Tom Hardy's agent, saw the Keanu Reeves thing and was like, "Let's do this."
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
let's give it a little bit of respect and let's talk about what it's going to be. So, the formidable corporatocracy Zynatech harnesses the unmatched energy of chromium to assert its dominance across the stars. The Arcbound series chronicles the journey of Kai, a resolute mediator captain tasked with maintaining Zynatech's lifeline to chromium. However, he grapples with the morality of his role. Revelations about Zynatech's dubious past thrust him into a poignant quandary: to remain loyal to the Empire or to confront the forces that molded him into a tool of oppression.
Tom Hardy, the answer is simple. You shill.
You said let's give them respect, and then you proceeded to read the most box out of the box sci-fi story ever. Hey, guys, get your money. It's comics. Get it while you can.
Chronium, unobtainium.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Wait, you're telling me there's a sci-fi book with an oppressive regime? No.
It just smells to me like actor can't act due to strike and wants to do comic.
Smells like Chronium.
I don't know. This just doesn't get. I don't get up for this. I hope it's good. Scott Snyder, he's obviously super talented, but these like Hollywood celebrity writer fusion things just don't really do it for me.
Are we gonna take a bet on the next celebrity?
Ooh,
It's got to be The Rock, right? He's up there.
Oh,
I'm surprised that he
Right?
hasn't.
With like ads for his tequila in it.
Who is an actor you would want to write a comic? You think we could have something to say?
Dwayne Johnson's Gray Alex.
Ray Allen. You know what? To tell you the truth, I don't even spend 2 seconds thinking about it. Like, I like actors that act really well, but I don't know their capacity for writing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Joe Pesci has a good one.
Ray Romano has teamed up with Frank Miller.
Like, I don't have an answer as far as an actor, but I would love to see a James Gunn comic book.
Oh, okay, that'd be cool. Wait, didn't he and his son do one? No, who am I thinking of?
Oh, you're thinking of
J.J. Abrams.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
You're thinking of J.J. Abrams and Nepo Abrams.
that Spider-Man abomination.
Did that even
What?
finish?
No,
I don't know. I
only-
genuinely don't know.
Did only
What's
one
up?
issue come out? Or two
Looks
issues?
like my sex line.
Oh, wow. All right. So, yeah, I this is just one of those things where I just don't care. Truth be told. Hope it's good.
So Netta brings up Imam Vellani writing Miss Marvel. That feels different than this.
That's good, but that's
Yeah.
good.
There seems to that's like that's in main continuity. That is an actor who actually has shown love for the character even before she was Miss Marvel. Like she was in message boards talking about Miss Marvel. So there's a history of passion for the character. I see nothing of that here.
Yeah. And like she literally is that character. Like Paul Dano writing the Riddler didn't bother me for the same reason. If Tom Hardy was going to write a Bane comic and he was going to write it, then sure. But he's not writing this by all accounts. I really don't know what his involvement is. It's the level of involvement that Keanu Reeves, by and large, probably had with Berserker, except for the fact that he was on Front Street making videos supporting the book, talking about where you can get comics and everything like that. That did more for comics than anything that we just talked about did.
Keanu Reeves, to give him credit, he was going to comic book shops and doing signings.
Yeah, he did. He did the legwork.
Yep. I do not see Tom Hardy going to a comic book shop. I'm sorry.
He didn't just put his name on a book.
Yeah,
he sold it.
Yep. Well, and after talking to Matt, like he was involved. He was involved in the process. So like that gave me a bit more respect for the book too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this just doesn't do it for me. But you know what does is Rick Remender comics.
Who?
Rick Remender, only one of the greatest comic book writers of all time, announced this week at New York Comic Con a massive expansion of the creators behind the Giant Generator imprint, which is, again, an imprint under Image Comics. So these are the creators who are signed on to work exclusively with Giant Generator. Daniel Acuna, Andre Lima Arujo, Paul Azaceta, Bengal, Roland Bashi, Max Fiumara, Mike Hawthorne, J.G. Jones, Francesco Mobley, Brett Parson, Yannick Paquette, and Greg Ticini. So 12 huge artists are off the market. Gone from the creative ecosystem.
Exclusive, man. Hot.
Yep. And then going back to the Ghost Machine, they took some pretty hot creators out of the pool as well.
It's weird seeing exclusivity go towards indies now.
Yeah.
Rather than the big two. We had the mid-aughts exclusivity race in comics and in Marvel and DC. Now we're seeing like a different version of that here.
I mean, comics is continuing to diversify itself and democratize itself, and now the fact that Ghost Machine, Giant Generator here too, like all of that plays into the fact that, you know what, maybe we can't just do it for ourselves. Maybe it's just taken a collective time for us to realize this.
I mean, you do say diversify. I would say the list of creators here maybe did not do any diversifying. It's all dudes. So it would be nice to see, I don't know, some non-dude names in these exclusivity deals, but
Yeah, that's something that
just Rick Remender in general with his books too. Yeah.
And I'm not sure what that's about, to be honest. But to be fair to Rick, I guess this is a list of creators who he has worked with throughout his career.
As you're naming them, I'm like, oh yeah, Righteous Thirst for Vengeance. That one with the car. What was that one called?
That one with the car.
The woman who drives the car, the Bengal drew.
Oh, yes. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah. Bengal actually did a really good Overwatch comic way back when. Good stuff. But like, yeah, these are his boys. Tinian does it, Snyder does it, now Remender's doing it. These are his guys. And then some of the books they've announced will look pretty interesting too.
Yo, maybe they're next. Imagine Tinian, like the school of Tinian just kind of like aggregates.
It turns into Game of Thrones. Just houses, yeah.
All the individual houses.
I mean, but like Japan has art houses, in that sense too, in their comics, right? Does Japan have like studios and houses for?
Yeah, they have
interesting,
like collectives and stuff.
Yeah,
and they've been around because Flux House is one that I'm familiar with, and like Matt Kint's a part of that. I think Tyler Jenkins. It's just whether or not they output at a certain degree, up to a certain degree, and they have that awareness.
Speaking of the books that got announced, we know that Rick Remender and Bengal, who worked on Death and Glory together, by the way, are going to be teaming up once again for a new book called Napalm Lullaby. It is a dystopian future kind of series that's going to kick off in March. Issue 1's got some crazy variant covers by some pretty incredible creators. It's described as such. What if a child with unimaginable power was discovered and raised to believe he was a god by a cult built upon hatred and populated by zealots utterly confident in the purity and absolute moral authority of their religion? Enter a world ruled by the magnificent leader, where just such a cult impose their will on an entire world to create the ultimate theocracy. Join up and buy in, or be cast out to suffer in the toxic slums with the masses of humanity. The story of Napalm Lullaby begins 50 years after the cult's subjugation of Earth, when two of the Messiah's bastard children, each with powers that are strange and difficult to control, set out to escape the slums of their birth, determined to infiltrate the magnificent leader's doomed fortress of adulation. They'll stop at nothing to kill the man responsible for the nightmare they were raised in.
See, that's a pitch.
Yeah,
that's a lot. I smell Apocalypse Twins in there.
Yeah,
from Uncanny Avengers.
Well, I want you to continue, but Rick Remender said that this and Holy Roller are his first forays into superheroes since he left Marvel.
Interesting.
Okay.
Huh.
People with powers.
It's a Remender book. I'm gonna check it out. Like I'm a simple man.
Yeah.
As am I. Sounds hot to me.
Napalm is very hot, actually.
And that he's writing it, and he's like sort of selected these creators. Like he probably knows what he has in his head, puts it pen to paper, and is like, "You're the guy for this book."
Yeah,
Hype.
I'm hyped too. And then he also announced Grommets as another ongoing series that we would get coming out in April. He's going to be teaming up with Brian Bosian,
Brian Posehn. Brian Posehn.
Bosane,
Yeah.
Brett
Comedian.
Parson, and Moreno Dionisio. This is an 80s infused coming of age story, and it's about kids that skate.
Brian Posehn, for comics fans, was the guy who partnered with Jerry Duggan for the Deadpool relaunch of Marvel Now.
Okay.
And he was like on the Sarah Silverman show. He has a face. If you look up Brian Posehn, you have seen him in something before. He's a very recognizable person. But this feels like a book for all the guys that played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater growing up. Which I'm cool with. I like that.
Rocket
Even the
power.
even the cover is a nod to Thrasher magazine. So this is interesting to me.
Yeah.
This is one that I'm gonna have to be convinced of. I don't care as much about this kind of concept. Skating is not important to me. And so I'm gonna have to be convinced. He's great. He does phenomenal work, but I'm gonna have to be convinced that I need this.
For sure. That's fair.
But in any event, I'm happy to see that Rick Remender is staying committed to the image side of things, because all the work's been great.
And one last thing, the fact that this is all under Image, like I think this is that they're leaning into that business differentiator. They have the Ghost Machine partnership with the publishing rights to that. Giant Generator has its own thing. Like, if they're going to house individual houses of creators, maybe this is the way that Image takes back some of that glory that it had.
Well, it's also a little easier for them because all I have to deal with publishing. I mean, I think a Giant Generator and like Skybound are a little more different. And I think the Image does have some control outside of publishing. I think that's what made Ghost Machine different. But yeah, seeing that they have all these different little imprints here and there that have a rhyme and reason to them, unlike DC's imprints, is it's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk Marvel. How about that?
I know the chat
Marvel
probably wants us to, for sure. And I know Chillmonger's in the chat. He's gonna have something to say about one of these coming up.
Marvel really, other than Ghost Machine, I think Marvel really came out swinging here at New York Comic Con. Now, whether they were swings and misses or whether they were massive successes, that's what we're here to discuss, right? But Marvel had the next big thing panel that happened on Saturday, and this is where they kind of blew the roof off of the Ultimate Universe, their next event, and things like that. So let's start with the Ultimate line. Now, we discussed Ultimate Universe #1, and we talked about Ultimate Spider-Man because those are the only things we knew about. The Jonathan Hickman of it all. But what else? What else is coming? So, Ultimate Universe, we know that's a one-shot. Sure. Ultimate Spider-Man. We finally know who is Spider-Man and what the idea is.
Let's go Ben Reilly.
Not quite.
Oh, well.
So Ultimate Spider-Man is not Miles Morales. Much to my sadness. It is Peter. It is Peter Parker. But it's kind of like Peter B. Parker. It's kind of like Ultimate Peter B. Parker. That's the way Hickman had described what we would be getting with this new Spider-Man. The new Ultimate Spider-Man for a new Ultimate Universe. We are getting a bold new take on Spider-Man with this, the debut title of the new line of Ultimate Comics. After the events of Ultimate Invasion, the world needs a hero. Who will rise up to take on that responsibility? Prepare to be entangled in a web of mystery and excitement as the all-new Ultimate Spider-Man comic redefines the wall crawler for the 21st century. Now, I believe what I read is that this is a Spider-Man who gets his powers as an adult, which is pretty exciting to me.
That's what we should infer too, because as a kid, the maker made sure Peter didn't get bitten.
Right.
And I think when they announced it, it's not in the article you listed, Sean, but I don't think the suit's finalized because they cycled through 4 suits.
Yeah.
Chichetto drew 4 covers for this. I didn't get all of them, but I saw a GIF of it online where one of them was 2099's suit, one of them was the black suit, and one of them was Ben Reilly's suit, which tells me it's none of those. I like this. I'm actually pretty excited about this because this is the Peter Parker story I've wanted for a while. Am I a little bummed that it's Peter Parker? Yeah, I am. But this is kind of where I want Peter Parker to be in the main universe, which is also like room for being a bummer as well. Like, oh, if we're getting this in the Ultimate, Peter's going to stay a college kid in the main universe forever. But it's different enough where I'm curious.
Yeah, me too. And I think that this is a good way for Marvel to have their cake and eat it too. I believe that it would have been very difficult to do something as unique and special with a young Peter or even a young Miles, maybe, as what Ultimate Spider-Man initially was. It's just a different time. This, though, is different and is unique, but it's going in the other direction. Because Marvel is never, ever, 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 ever going to give you real, true adult Peter in the middle of his life with a wife and kids and all of that. That's not happening in mainline Marvel. But that's something you can get away with in the Ultimate line, and that's the perfect place to do it. I mean, other than the mainline Marvel, which I don't think they should do, but I digress.
I do hope like he's married with a kid too. I think that's more interesting.
I mean, certainly more interesting than him living with his aunt, you know, if they're going like, if Hickman is specifically saying Peter B. Parker, which he did, he cannot be just a bachelor. He can't be the same as mainline Peter. There has to be something significantly different.
Give me divorced dad, Peter Parker.
No, not even divorced. He has to be married.
Wow,
Mainline Peter is I mean, he's not literally divorced, but like,
I mean, if Marvel is meant to be the world outside your window, then make this guy have college debt that he's still paying off. He's living in the basement of Aunt May's house because where else is he going to work?
He got bit by the spider when he was, late night grocery shopping, feeling for avocados.
Now, Mike, a little ow.
My question is, what is Paul's role in the Ultimate Spider-Man universe?
Oh, I need Ultimate Paul.
Yes.
Ultimate Paul.
He already is Ultimate Paul.
It's true, yeah.
I think I read that Hickman had said that Paul was going to be he's going to have actually a superhero identity in this iteration. He's going to be called Rizman.
The
Rizzler.
Maybe the Riz. Yeah. No, I mean, this is exciting to me. I'm glad that it's going to be down to earth, but it's a different bend on Peter than we've really got. We also learn. Oh, by the way, January 10th on that.
Oh, soon to come.
Yeah, we also got Ultimate Black Panther. This is something that Tyler and I both called way back when. This is going to be written by one of my faves, Brian Edward Hill.
Let's go.
Yep. With art by Stefano Caselli, a tremendous artist. The new Ultimate Black Panther. In the wake of Ultimate Invasion, Khonshu and Ra, the force known together as Moon Knight, are seeking to expand their brutal control of the continent of Africa. In response, the lone bulwark against them, the isolated nation of Wakanda, will send forth its champion, its king, the Black Panther. Is it T'Challa?
It's T'Child. I have to get out of the way.
It's T'Challa, I'm sure. I don't think
it's probably T'Challa. The fact that it's a guy makes me think it's T'Challa. If they were going to do not T'Challa, it would have been a woman character.
I don't think there's a need to even rock that boat. Like,
Yeah.
let it be T'Challa. Let's tell good Black Panther stories. And this is great because really there was no Ultimate Black Panther before, at least not one that we spent much time with. So I like that they're launching right out the gate with Black Panther.
Mm.
Make him a pillar of this new Ultimate Universe.
And that team, Brian Hill, like in the solicits, it mentions Killmonger, which is it's a slept on mini. Brian Hill's Killmonger is very good, and
Yeah.
Caselli is one of my favorites.
Nice.
How do you feel about the Moon Knight of this?
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think it makes sense for geographically where it is. An expansion from the north to Wakanda. Where does Wakanda lay on the map?
Isn't it like Central Africa or something?
Wherever it is.
Yeah, I'm just curious as a relation to Egypt, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it makes geographical sense. I guess what I'm getting at is the idea that Khonshu and Ra are a combination that is
Mhm.
Moon Knight. So that, I guess, for the time being, removes like Mark Spector or anyone of that nature being Moon Knight.
And it's
Isn't
interesting
only
because Moon God and Sun God at the same time.
Right.
yeah.
What
But
were you gonna say?
wouldn't they be at odds? Because isn't the whole reason is that he is the voice of Khonshu specifically?
In mainline Marvel,
Oh,
but
true. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
this is cool. I'm way in.
Yeah. Try it. Brian Hill's on it. Easy.
And just like Ultimate Comics fashion, the costume design is a little too extra.
Yeah, it's a bit much. It's a bit much, but creative team alone, I'm sold. Honestly, I don't even care what it's about. Up next, we got Ultimate X-Men.
Yes. Yes. Bye. Poll. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so this was the biggest like surprise, I think. Not because there's an Ultimate X-Men book, no duh. But because it's written and drawn by Peach Momoko.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. To anybody who I know somebody in Marvel's hears us and so I sincerely just thank you.
They don't hear us; they hear sales. Peach Momoko is a money printing machine.
I haven't read anything that Peach has done. I didn't catch any of the Demon Days books, so I don't know the quality of the writing. I think that this is her art style is extremely unique. And so this will be a very visually diverse book from the rest of what is clearly in the Ultimate Universe. There are no details. There were no details made available about what this book would be. We know Armor's on the cover of it. I'm excited by that because Armor is one of my faves. So that's pretty cool. I'm in.
Demon Days had very much manga stylings in the narrative. I'd be curious uh, how you read those through, Sean, because it's very different. And what she leans on from like even tropes are pulled very much from manga.
I'll be honest with you, Sean. I think you would like the look of Demon Days, and that's it.
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
not sure the content is for you.
Well, then I'm worried.
I just think the way it's set and where it's set, and it's heavily influenced with, just like feudal Japan setting. Whereas this is mainline continuity. This is like Peach Momoko has to play in the sandbox of the Ultimate Universe as opposed to making her own thing.
Yeah.
Which I think maybe reining that in a bit. And it's got armor. I'm a big armor fan, and I know you are too. So
Yeah.
I don't think you should be too worried.
Yeah,
Okay.
she does a good job with the characters and with their interactions. It's just where she grounds herself, I think, is in a different styling. But
The
it's good
craft is
nonetheless.
definitely the craft and skill is definitely there. I think it's the subject matter that won't. It's almost pirates, but it's like it's ninjas. I don't know if you're big into ninjas, so
Ninjas are cool. I like ninjas.
anti-pirate.
Nah, fuck pirates.
I do want to say all of the branding, the dressing on these things are pretty cool. Like the individualized logos for the ultimate for that said character,
Yeah.
awesome. Whether or not it needs to say ultimate underneath that, that might be a little bit because you're blocking some of the art on the covers. But I think the individual designs are very, very cool. Really good idea.
And Marvel Snap's going to have a whole bunch of ways to bring out new microtransactions for people.
Yes.
And also, so in the Ultimate X-Men 1 cover, Wolverine behind her. There's 3 slashes and a glare.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Kind of, especially with armor and Wolverine go hand in hand.
Okay, so armor Wolverine.
Oh, are we calling what the team will be?
Let's do it. Cyclops?
Storm.
No.
No Cyclops?
I don't think Cyclops or Jean Grey.
Storm?
I would say Storm. I would say Beast.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And then Rogue.
X-23?
No, if Wolverine's there, no X-23.
Okay.
I would throw either Rogue or
Surge,
maybe.
come on. Peace Momoko, Surge, let's do it. Please.
That's a wet dream for Sean.
Yes.
I would say Kitty Pryde though.
No, not yes. Why did I say yes? Dude, not yes. No, Kitty Pryde. Armor is Kitty Pryde.
Self report. Got him.
No. I would love to see Jean and Cyclops. That's what I want.
Yeah, he talked about it at the beginning of the show. We know.
Right,
but my question is, like, I don't know, like, how this doesn't have, like, a main Ultimate line book though. Like, we had everything we've been dealing with the Ultimates, in Ultimate Invasion and Ultimate Universe. None of those characters are in these 3 books that are the new line. So I'm a little confused, but
I think that after Ultimate Universe #1 drops, we get the Ultimates book announcement.
Okay, just like a little bit delayed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they teased this out, so
Yeah, so this is cool. I'm excited for these books. Ultimate X-Men comes out in March. So it looks like we're getting one in January, then one in February, then one in March, and that's going to kind of be the cadence. I agree with AH in the chat. Keep the line small and keep the books distinct and keep them good.
Literally, I would only add an Avengers or an Ultimate book, an Ultimates book, and like that's it. 4 max.
Yeah. You think Hickman writes the Ultimates book?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Hickman or Cates, but I don't know where Cates is, man. No Donnie Cates at New York Comic Con 2023.
yeah.
The dude's still recovering from what I know. Like it's been rough for that dude. So
Yeah.
Give
Real
him time.
bummer. Let's talk a little bit about Avengers Twilight.
Oh, you mean the book I scooped before Marvel could announce it?
So, of course, this is a book we already knew about. Chip talked a little bit about it in his interview with Tyler. Definitely check that out. We got details, though. So now we know that Avengers Twilight is a book that's going to kind of take place in the future. It's an alternate version of the future in which Steve Rogers, not necessarily Captain America as much, is kind of at the forefront. He appears to have run for senator at some point, been essentially. And it's a very different America. There are no Avengers anymore. They're not friends. They put out a trailer. I don't know if you guys checked it out, but it was really good. I like when Marvel does their trailers. I was a big fan of the Civil War trailers they did for the comic back in 2006. And this gave me that vibe. This was pretty cool, honestly.
It's a team that I will read a book for. So,
Yeah. Creative team's there. That's what's gonna pull me.
Yeah. One thing that Chip actually said in the interview that I thought was really interesting, and it makes a lot more sense what he said now that I've seen the trailer and we know more information about the book, is that this was written 4 years ago. And the book is very, very much influenced, in my eyes, by the political climate that we were in 4 years ago. That's a Trump
Yeah,
era.
pre-2020 election. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Chip did say that, like, the climate has changed a lot since then. And so some of the things that are in the book don't necessarily reflect how he feels today. But that being said, I am interested in what Chip has to say if this was written based on how he was feeling about the world at that time. So, yeah, I'm into it.
I'm down 100%.
Can I tell you what I'm not into?
Oh,
Blood.
I hate blood.
pirates.
That too. So One Piece definitely not for me.
No.
Marvel announced Blood Hunt. Blood Hunt is their big Avengers horror, universe crossover event that I would say they've been promising for a while. Big vampire event with the tagline. You guys are ready for this? The tagline is, "Who will bite it?"
What?
I kind of like that.
What?
It's cheesy.
Who will bite what?
When someone says, "Oh, he's gonna bite it," means he's gonna die.
Oh.
I forgot you weren't alive in the 90s. You don't understand 90s slang. It's fine.
Who will bite it? Boo.
Agreed,
Next.
Marco. Jed McKay, Pepe Larraz, Marta Gracia. Boy, oh boy, is this going to look great.
Damn,
It will.
Team,
yeah.
It's going to look really great.
And it looks like it's Avengers, Blade, Miles Morales, and Doctor Strange and Moon Knight?
Yeah.
Possibly? Okay.
Yep.
I mean, Jason Aaron seeded the whole vampire war in his Avengers run, and that's one of the things he didn't really get to finish. So that's a big question mark on the Marvel Universe. So this kind of had to happen, and with Blade being a pretty good book right now, let's just do it now.
Get out the way.
Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of Draculas in this book.
Go ahead, Marco.
Well, the only other thing that was teased out was some of the Wolverine, like the initial Wolverine stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on this. It feels gimmicky.
Oh, 100% is a gimmick.
Yeah.
I mean, why put a vampire event out in spring?
Right. A, it should have been coming out now.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make any sense.
It's like when
and B, I'm desperate for Marvel to put out an event of merit, an event of substance. Please, I'm begging you, put out an event that I can sink my teeth into, no pun intended,
that was intended,
and actually get something out of.
Blood.
Please.
What if they do a whole who do you bite kind of campaign? Silhouettes of people. Who's this silhouette with a weird cape? Oh, that's also Dracula.
Well, if they're asking me who do I bite, I want to see silhouettes of like She-Hulk or like come on,
Gorilla Man.
No, not Jean Grey. Gorilla Man.
I think he's actually a vampire in current continuity, so he'll probably be in this book.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not into this. Look, I'm a little bit down on Jed because of what's been going on with Avengers, and this just has no heat for me. I don't want this. I'm sorry.
This just feels like fluff stuff to sort of get the in between publishing initiatives or something. Like they're gonna just toss this out.
Yeah.
Manny brings up a good point in the chat. That Miles book hasn't had 4 issues straight without being attached to an event.
For real.
Yeah.
For real. Absolutely. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can't even get out of the blocks with some of these big 2 books.
Rip.
It's wild.
Yo, James Jones in the chat has been like calling out which books are interested. He's like, "Oh, gonna get the Black Panther book for sure. Interesting on Moon Knight." The one was this one, Trade Weight on Twilight.
Is this Twilight of the Superheroes? Is this what we did a whole series on?
I wish.
Twilight with the superheroes, apparently.
Yeah.
Aaron Ruiz says, "Is this going to be the Avengers book that Sean may actually enjoy?" Yeah, probably. I mean, you get a good creative team on an Avengers comic, and I'm all in.
And Pepe Larraz holds a lot of weight. Like, I know We're joking about the premise of this, but it's gonna look really good.
Yep.
And Monte Gracia too, like
Top 5 for me, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
I think so.
The potential is there. The concept, oof.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's been a lot of speculation about what Marvel would announce at New York Comic Con 2023. How they would talk about the X-Men. What would the end, if the end of the Krakoan era was coming, what would it look like? We already know about the fall of the House of X and the rise of Powers of X. We know that they exist, but we don't know exactly what they're going to be. Well, now we do. Marvel has opened the gates on that, and we now finally know what those two titles will be. And then the third title that interrelates is, of course, the resurrection of Magneto. So this is it, guys. Marvel has officially announced the end. It's
No,
happening.
it's a shame.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm fine with it.
No.
The Mark Brooks classic Mark Brooks doing a Krakoan Age X-Men triple page poster spread or whatever the heck you'd call it. It's got some really interesting choices in it. It seems very anachronistic in all the costume designs. You have like Outback Rogue with Wolverine's costume from when he was, headmaster of the X-Men and Wolverine the X-Men. But you have like Hellfire Club Emma with like Krakoan Age Cyclops. It's all over the place. Age of Apocalypse Colossus is there. So are we going to be dealing with some real wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff with this too? I mean, we are with Rise of Powers of 10, but yeah.
I literally don't think it matters, dude. If you look at the original one he did, the characters are wearing wonky costumes that
Hasn't he said like there's a reasoning to it?
There wasn't. Look at the initial one. Look at it.
So,
It's
yeah.
got Cyclops in his blue and gold costume. That didn't come up.
That's fair.
It
is nice to see whatchamacallit, Cannonball in his original, denim jacket, but
In the chat, Manny goes, honk shoe.
he got the honk shoe memes.
Yeah. And then going back to the mansion after having your own nation is the definition of down bad.
So that's really been the crux of the discourse about this, because again, I don't think that it's reasonable to still question whether or not this is the end. Marvel seems to be, in my mind, pretty explicitly saying it's over, and people are frustrated. Now, my opinion is that a lot of the people who are frustrated, we're not talking about. No one talks about the core X-Men fan who's alienated by this era. That person is voiceless, but that person has buying power. And that person is going to return when they see the mansion. There's no doubt in my mind about that. They're going to return when they see the mansion. They're going to return when they see, just the back to basics approach that we know is coming once this era comes to an end. They didn't bring Tom Brevoort for no reason. He's coming because they're going to bring the X-Men sort of back to one. The rubber band is at capacity, guys. This is it.
Yeah. They're even like literally closing the loop with this too, with Rise and Fall,
Right?
Like those plot lines are being closed up.
To meat and potatoes.
I mean, I'm fine with it. We got it. It happened. It was mostly good. But we'll see. Now that Marvel has, Marvel and then Disney proper has a monetary reason to do good X-Men comics. When was the last time they had that for the X-Men when they were in the mansion?
Yeah.
So even though we're going back to the mansion, there's still potential here for some really good stuff. Like there's a lot new characters that have a lot more priority and spotlight on them that maybe didn't during the mansion eras.
The other thing that people took umbrage with is the rubber banding or the apparent rubber banding of Magneto. Because
Yeah.
in the trailer, he's referred to, it says essentially that in order for mutants to overcome this threat of orcas and everything else, they need the aid of their greatest villain, their greatest enemy. And that's a reference to Magneto. To me, that makes perfect sense if you've been reading the Krakoan era, because Magneto died and there is no backup, allegedly. My suspicion is that the backup that they end up using will go back to a prior version of Magneto.
Yeah, that's what I called that when we talked about, the return to the mansion. Like, they're going to return to a status quo that makes sense for a movie, and Magneto as the main villain of a movie makes sense. Which is a bummer, man. Magneto's growth is one of the best in comics. That if I have any kind of annoyance with this, like, I'm not really annoyed the Krakoan Age is ending. It did what it did. But it's this. It's making Magneto a villain again,
But my thing is, like, is he always going to be a hero because he's a hero now?
I don't consider him a hero, though. I consider him pragmatic, but he's not a villain,
Yeah.
He's neither. He is the best for mutant kind in any way and shape that exists. And optically, it might look like a villain. It might look like a hero. But that he doesn't care about optics. It's about what's best for mutant kind. The way you've worded it was like, oh, the villain Magneto needs to come back. It feels like they're going to go... I mean, I hope not. I hope they don't go mustache twirly, scene chewy Magneto. But
I mean, that's an interpretation of Magneto. I don't think that's actually... I don't think Magneto's a pragmatist. I think that the Magneto we had before was a person who was an extremist terrorist that felt that mutant kind was superior and should be treated as such. And I think that the Magneto that we have now is a person who has learned that doesn't get it done, and wants to be better. So I do think he is a better person now. And I do think he was, villainous before. If you're going to launch nuclear missiles at humanity, that's pretty villainous to me. So if they're taking him back to that's back to bad.
Yeah. I think your overall point on it, Tyler, is salient because, like, I agree. I think it's how you control that character. But if he is going to be reverted back, it's going to be under that category. But I think he has gotten so much more depth that you're just going to erase that, and that's not going to jive with. Oh, that's not going to jive with me going back into this. Like, if we're going back to the mansion, if we're going back to the big bad Magneto, like those things don't interest me anymore. That's not the X-Men that I care about.
Why not?
It's not interesting. The interesting stuff was them having their own nation, was this unifying force, was that, well, as much as previously he was a bad guy, he was their antagonist and villain, he had the capacity to change because he wants the proliferation of mutants. And if there's a way to do so that is methodical in how they initially planned with Hoxpox, I thought that continuing along that journey, I thought there was more for he could continue to do. He could continue to grow.
I think there's a lot to be mined with a non-Krakoan X-Men. I mean, we had Nation X before, which wasn't great, and it was essentially the same idea as Krakoa.
Yep.
Just wasn't executed that well. I think it depends on the creative team. Like Hickman executed something that is kind of been done before with Nation X outside, right outside of California. Just did it better and in better execution, which I think that was a Kieran Gillen creation, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I just noticed there's 2 cables on this Mark Brooks thing too.
There are 2 cables.
Yeah,
Literally, because we got the kid one and the adult one.
That's right.
And then there's technically 2 X-23s as well. So
interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm all in on this. I don't want the era to end, but if we're going back to basics and Marvel is planning to make the X-Men books the flagship, which that's the vibe that I get by bringing Tom Brevoort on and letting Will Moss be the editor in charge of the X-Men, or the Avengers rather. This is the way to do that. You bring on a fresh start and you get the best people you can to usher that era in. We don't know how they're going to do that. We're going to get more news in November. Right now, what we know is that the Fall of House of X Fall of House of X will be a 5-issue series, as will Rise of the Powers of X, and Resurrection of Magneto will be a 4-issue series. Resurrection of Magneto will see, of course, the resurrection of Magneto by Storm, who is going to somehow resurrect him. We don't know the mechanism, but we know that they cannot use the 5. Krakoa has fallen. And so the means of resurrection that they had don't exist anymore.
Isn't Sinister's lab still missing?
It's comic books. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So this would lead into possibly a June or probably a June relaunch of the X-Men, which would have lined up with a Hellfire Gala anyway. So, yeah.
The fall of the House of X is going to be Krakoa has just begun to fight. And fall of the House of X #1, Mutantkind has never had a greater fall from the heights of Krakoa, their own glorious nation, a place where they were safe and happy, to the lowest of lows. Outlawed, hunted, killed, most of their kind missing or dead, and now one of their greatest leaders, Cyclops, is on trial, facing a death penalty. Ready or not, the time has come for the X-Men to make their final stand against the forces that have struck them low. The day is now, the place is here. The tale of the house Xavier built will long be told, and few will forget this darkest chapter. So again, it's not just a return to the X-Mansion. It's also a return to the X-Men as an oppressed minority type that's being hunted and killed, which we have seen in the Fall of X. I do believe that all the mutants will be present when things get relaunched, but for now, this is their darkest hour. And then last, Rise of the Powers of X. And the fight for Krakoa has been lost in Rise of the Powers of X. 10 years ago, the mutants returned from their exile to try and reclaim the Earth from the forces of Orcus. They failed. Now, within the victorious Orcus, with their gauntlet choking the world, Nimrod and Omega Sentinel put their plan within a plan into action. They are to summon their binary god to consume everything in their ascension. All that stands between them is the X-Men. What can they do? They're the X-Men. They'll find a way. That's their power. So begins a story beyond time and space, with the rise of powers beyond our petty human intelligence.
Oh, so there's interesting there. So they're still intending to ascend.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it's closing that loop of that story.
I like
the
that.
lineup. The lineup they have on that team is interesting looking.
Gillen and Silva?
No, I mean the characters.
Oh, the characters. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Does that look like Darwin in Professor X's role? It looks like.
Yeah.
Wolverine,
Yeah.
obviously. It looks like some kind of Iron Man with some kind of growing power. It could be. I don't know what that is. And Captain
the plant
Krakoa,
stuff?
which looks like maybe a rogue as well.
Yeah.
And Apocalypse Kitty Pryde. Am I reading that correctly?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, interesting. I love crap like that. That whole future area that Hickman touched upon with the Ascension. It's super high sci-fi, and I really like that. I don't know if Gillen could do that, but it's R.B. Silva. So again, the art will be at least getting me the ticket in.
Yep. 100%.
Amin Perez in the chat says, for me, mutants work better as the next step of evolution rather than an endangered species since House of M.
I agree with that.
If you're saying since House of M, I mean, they were hunted horribly after House of M. Like that's the only story they told with the mutants, really, until Hoxpox.
Quite literally, the last story, it was Rosenberg's X-Men before Hoxpox, and they were being killed every other issue violently.
When I started reading X-Men comics, which Tyler, this probably resonates with you, that was during the Messiah Complex.
That's right before I started reading right after that. But yeah,
I think because I think the sentiment there is like they work better as that rather than them being hunted or them being followed. Like the concepts of the X-Men are better as they can proliferate and they're no longer that.
I think personally that part of the problem with that is the same problem that exists if Spider-Man's just a happily married dude with a kid, and he's just like the best hero ever, and he solved all his problems, and yada yada yada. Is that it's difficult to how do you it limits the stories you can tell. Yes, absolutely. There are story limitations that exist in that situation. There are story limitations to the X-Men right now. Just the fact that we know for pretty much a fact that these characters can't die is a story limitation. How long can you keep that up? How long can you keep up the idea that they have this medicine that can cure any disease? How long can you keep all of these things up? Once they defeat Orcus, what stands in their way? Nothing. How long can you keep up that the entire roster of mutant villains are not villains? I think that it's not something that can last until in perpetuity. I don't think it works that way.
speaking of Brevoort, I guess he just put out a newsletter in which Will Moss will be now the Avengers editor.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Okay.
Again, I'm not happy that this is happening, but I get it. I think I don't know what else they could do, and also we know that it was always going to end.
Yeah.
Hickman was explicit about that.
I wouldn't be surprised if this went longer than Hickman wanted it to.
It clearly did.
Yeah.
It clearly did.
How many years has it been? Time is weird.
4 years. Because it started in 2019.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
So it will be 5 years when it ends.
Sure. Yeah, a multiple of 10.
Hey,
I like that.
Maybe this is planned all along.
I like that.
Oh wait, it's not a multiple of 10 though.
Yeah,
10 would be a multiple of 5, but whatever.
This isn't the math pals. Clearly, we don't know what the hell we're talking about.
We couldn't even do a snake draft until six episodes in.
The only kind of math I know how to do is I know how to count to the likes goal. And so do you guys, because we killed the likes goal, and that means that we get to do a draft. Yes, absolutely. And so I am excited to tell you that the draft concept this week is inspired by New York Comic Con, of course, is superheroes in cosplay.
Oh, wrong. That's why I wore the hat. It's actually name all the One Piece characters that you can.
I would lose that very quickly. Luffy.
It's not pronounced Luffy.
Oh,
Luffy?
Luffy?
Like the thing you wash your body with.
Yeah, Luffy.
A loofah.
Yeah.
No, Luffy.
Oh, I don't wash my body with a Luffy.
I don't wash my body.
Well, that's a take.
Sorry, New York Comic Con attendees.
little musty.
I was cosplaying as Pigpen all weekend.
Oh my god. So here's the what this draft is about, because that name in and of itself doesn't necessarily sell it. So what I mean by superheroes in cosplay is superhero characters wearing another person's costume and operating as that hero, or a memorable time in which a hero with the power to shapeshifted into another hero and operated as that character.
No, I guess it doesn't work. Never mind.
an example.
I'm ready.
Okay. Just so as an example, for those of you who have read Civil War, Iron Fist is Daredevil during the Civil War time. He is wearing Daredevil's outfit, and Matt Murdock is in prison, and he's trying to clear his name.
So it's not an official. They're not officially that character now. It's not a full-on name change. I throw out Elektra becoming Daredevil. Does that count?
No, because she's not a hero.
Oh wait, what? But Daredevil is.
Elektra is not a hero character.
Oh, I disagree.
Oh,
What do you mean?
Elektra's a hero. She just does things in a very interesting way.
She's hero-ish. I'm talking heroes.
Oh, this is a very specific draft. Jeez.
yeah. Hold on a second. Then.
All right.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready.
You want to count?
Well, how about? Well, it depends who goes first.
I wasn't even going to use that. I was just using that as a clarification, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think that should count. But if it makes it easier for you,
Well, does Robin going into Nightwing count?
they have to be becoming someone. They have to. It's cosplay, Marco.
Okay.
Everybody on the same page.
We'll find out.
Yes.
Roll them bones.
All right. Well, why don't you guys read comments real fast while I go get my dice? Okay.
Yeah, so Tom Account says bonkers draft. I did not read the K in that when I first read that word. So I was very confused. Like, oh, that's out of character for a Tom Account. So does Dick Grayson count as Batman? I don't know. We're about to find out.
We'll see.
Oh, I'm impressed. You're trying to trigger us. Wally West was impersonating Flash for 26 years or something. The good thing Cale's not on this one.
Rude.
All right,
who's this
you
for,
guys
Sean?
ready?
Yeah, who's this for?
All right, so I'm gonna roll for Tyler first. Okay, here we go.
Snake Eyes.
Guys. Oh, jinx.
7.
Oh, I swear to you, I thought the X was a 1.
No, the X is a 6, and it just so happens that the 1 also came up.
Gotcha.
So that's a 7, and then I will roll for myself. That is a 6. It's hidden, but it's a 6. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a 6. And another 6.
Oh, damn.
So I go first.
You definitely go first, and then I will now roll for Marco. That's a 10.
Nice.
And for myself, that is a 6. So it's going to be Tyler, Marco, and I.
Okay. I'm going to start off.
You got it. Just real quick, this is not limited to any particular company. You can use both, just in case anyone was curious. And we're doing 4.
I'm going to start with... I'm going to go... let's go Bruce Banner Hulk as one of the members of the Fantastic Four.
What do you mean? Which one?
He was a Fantastic Four member.
That doesn't count. They have to be portraying a specific character.
Another character. So he'd be like, he'd only count if he was like the Human
Thing.
Torch.
Yeah.
Or, sorry. Yeah. I guess that makes more sense, actually.
I mean, Ghost Rider was but he wasn't really the Human Torch.
He was Ghost Rider.
He was Ghost Rider in the Fantastic. Oh, Jesus Christmas. Okay, all right.
Gosh darn it.
When Lex Luthor was Superman.
Lex is bad.
Oh, no. Oh,
Man,
I told you, superheroes in cosplay.
Right,
I think Lex is a good guy in my opinion. Hold on, let me look at my wall here. No, that's a wall of villains. That doesn't help. Let me... Jane Foster Thor? No, that doesn't count. That's not cosplay. She became Thor. Jesus, this is a tough one.
Do I have to help you guys?
No, don't help me.
You've knocked out 3 of mine.
I have one, and it's just really dumb. But it's the only one I can think of right now, and I might have to just say it to get out of the way. Miss Thing.
What?
When Johnny Storm's girlfriend joins the FF and becomes the Thing by wearing one of his costumes.
But she's not a hero.
She's a hero to social media.
Oh my god.
Do the one in the chat. It's easy.
The one in the
There's a gimme in the chat.
Dick Grayson as Batman counts?
Yes, of course. Nightwing to Batman.
But he is Batman at that point. He's not cosplaying as Batman. That's offensive to consider him cosplaying as Batman.
Oh my god.
He would have stayed
I thought
Batman
this
if it wasn't for
such
New
a simple
52.
concept.
Damn,
Wow. I thought this was so simple.
I go next. Hold on, I got next.
Okay. Oh no, Dark Reign doesn't even work either.
No.
No, but you only get the one. You go first.
Just give me Dick Grayson's Batman so I can think more.
There you go.
I was also gonna do Jane Foster, Tyler, and he said no. And then I guess that scratches off Levi Kamei because technically he's not a hero; he's just a dude.
Exactly.
God damn it, dude. Wait, but then Kate Bishop wouldn't count either, right? Because she was just a person.
Exactly. That's the whole fucking game.
Yo, what is this bullshit, dude? I had Doc Ock as Spider-Man too. You literally knocked out like 5 of my people. All right,
It's always villains. It's the villains that are doing it. That's why.
Kamala Khan for Captain Marvel.
Which literally turns into Captain Marvel.
Transformation.
Sure. Sure. I just for the sake of getting this thing moving.
You go, Sean, and I think we might have a better idea of what you're looking for.
I guess I don't know. I thought about this a while ago, and I feel like there's some obvious ones, but here's one that stands out to me is Superman as Batman.
When did that happen?
Oh.
That happens in I think it's Jeff Loeb, World's Finest, where he fights Bane for Batman. He fights Bane, but he's Superman. I used to have a hero click of it. I remember this.
Okay.
Look it up.
All right, what's your second one?
So for my second one, I'm going to go with War Machine as Iron Man. The times that James Rhodes has taken over for Tony to be Iron Man.
Okay.
Oh, then I'll take Falcon turning into Captain America.
There you go.
Oh, geez. I'll go. Oh, fucking hell. I'll go with Frank Castle becoming the Cosmic Ghost Rider.
All right.
Ooh.
I like that.
And I go again for my third, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Howard the Duck turning into the Silver Surfer. He did get the power cosmic.
That's crazy.
Sure.
Thanks, Chip.
In that case, I'm gonna do. Can I do Miles Morales Spider-Man as regular in continuity Spider-Man?
No.
Huh?
He's a regular dude who becomes Spider-Man.
Shit.
Spider-Man becoming the ultimate bag man.
Hey, wait, does that count?
No.
It's not an actual hero. Yeah. Although Spider-Man's probably a good one. I'm sure there's tons. Okay. I got one. Yeah.
Yeah, me fucking too.
I might have just hinted it, but yeah.
Mystique transforming into.
First of all, villain, so automatically DQ'd.
Bro, what's that other half of Rogue? You know how Rogue is made up of like 2 people? It's like Captain Marvel's personality.
Rogue is not made up of 2 people.
You know what I'm talking about? Where like
Psylocke is 2 people.
Yeah, Rogue has the powers of Captain Marvel. Yes.
No, but she had at some point the psyche that was like locked in her prior to her like being released from.
She had, yes, because she was in a coma. Captain Marvel was in a coma, and Rogue had Captain Marvel's memory or whatever. Yeah, okay.
Took her brain over. Does that count?
No, she wasn't running around as her.
Grasping at straws here. Pretty shit straws too.
I guess this was a much harder draft than I thought.
No, Aaron Reese, don't say that. Delete it.
That's the one I had. That's my next one.
Oh, Nightcrawler, Spider-Man. Oh.
Was this what was this the seed that grew this idea?
No. I don't even remember what it was, but I just was thinking about this. So that's what you're going with, Marco?
Yeah, bro. Give it to me.
You get your next two, Sean.
All right, so I'm gonna go with Iron Fist as Daredevil.
Okay.
And now it's tough because this is my last one. No. Well, that's actually kind of interesting. No, that wouldn't count. That wouldn't count.
You're having a whole discussion with yourself.
Because I was thinking about. Oh no, he was. Was Batman not a White Lantern?
Then that's all of Blackest Night could be used there.
Ooh, hey, shut up.
Because that's more of a title and it's not a character. I don't know. That smells funny to me. That smells like a cheat.
Okay. All right. So then I won't go with that. Trying to think of a good one.
Oh, I'm impressed. Okay. I'm impressed. In the chat says he's coming up with some good ones.
That was another one that I was thinking about was Amadeus Cho into the Hulk. So I'll go with that.
Wait, but does that count? What was he
Amadeus
before?
Cho was a hero. He's one of the smartest men in the Marvel universe before he turned into the Hulk. Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Marco, you want to struggle through your last one?
Ah, shit.
Number 4.
I'm trying to think who the fuck transforms. Shade the Changing Man, but
Damn, I have another one.
Keep that in your pocket, Sean.
You should know it.
oh wait, we can't do White
I'm
Lantern,
zeroed in
right?
on a certain one right now.
No, we can't.
He's a villain. Fuck.
Snake, the draft is superheroes and cosplay, so superhero characters wearing some other hero's costume and pretending to be them.
Trying to lean into the Bat family here or something.
There's a
Batgirl is
really obvious Bat family one.
Batgirl and or
Does it involve something that looks like a rabbit?
Mm-mm.
And a mech?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Maybe I picked the less obvious Batman one.
That's why I said this one was real obvious.
Oh, does that count? Wait, hold on. Does that count?
What, Marco?
Jim Gordon as Batman?
I would say it does.
He's a police officer. Is that kind of
He's not a superhero.
Fuck off.
I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you.
Sheesh.
I mean, come on. These are the rules. We agreed.
Did we?
Yes. I thought we did.
No, Black Canary doesn't do that.
When I saw this written down, Sean, I was like, I don't know any cosplay people. Like,
Speedy becoming a Green Arrow. Surely that's happened. It must happen.
actually, didn't become Green Arrow. No.
Isn't he the Red Arrow?
Yeah, but that's
Arsenal.
just like
Was Red
Arsenal,
Arrow as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Think in that realm, though. If only there was a prominent Teen Titans character that took the mantle of his...
I can't believe this.
You can't do that because what was he before? I guess he'd be a psychic before. Did
You would know
Aquaman become Aquaman? Bro, I don't.
Oh my god, this is so unbelievably funny.
Didn't know we were at the dentist pulling teeth over here.
No.
Vengeance brings up another good point.
We have Pigeons in the chat.
Yo,
Intimidating.
Vengeance.
ooh, hold on a second. Aaron Ruiz, you're right. Swamp Thing, he became Superman. He put on a cape. He did a little transformation thing, and he
did.
Yes.
That,
He did.
That counts.
All right, this one. Throw this out there. Howard the Duck becoming the Juggernaut.
I remember that.
Jugger
He's the
Duck.
villain.
Oh yeah, that's right. Juggernaut is what was he at the time, I guess. Juggernaut's a hero right now.
I think he
count
was.
it.
I think he was a Thunderbolt at the time, actually.
I count it.
Or I take Miss Marvel becoming Captain America.
Which one do you want?
Jugger duck. I need double ducks right now. I need to get ducked up.
We'll go with that for the sake of brevity. The other one that was missed was Damian Wayne as Batman.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Eh.
Yeah.
Damian
John
Wayne
Kent
is a
becoming
hero.
Superman is another big one too.
Which one?
Superboy into Superman.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You can
See,
do
this is
that.
where the gray area is what confused me. That's why I wanted to go.
There's
to something.
there's no gray area.
You just went for Superboy into Superman, but
No, I wasn't. That wasn't what I meant. What I meant was that Damian into Batman counts, even though he's not Batboy. He's
wasn't he-
Damian Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Like he's Robin. So it's that transition from one hero identity to another.
But he wasn't Robin when he became Batman. It was just Batman's son. Flash forward, he's Batman.
Yeah, because in the future, that's what happens, and we've seen that future since he's been Robin. Tyler.
I don't know why I'm debating this. None of us took it, but
Yeah, me neither. All right, so through
Atomic
that
Count is
draft-
right. Bugs Bunny did become Superman.
That's good. That's good. We made it through the draft. Here are the teams we came up with. So I have Superman as Batman, War Machine as Iron Man, Iron Fist as Daredevil, and Amadeus Cho as Hulk. Marco has Kamala Khan as Captain Marvel, Sam Wilson as Captain America, Nightcrawler as Spider-Man, and Swamp Thing as Superman. And Tyler has Nightwing as Batman, Frank Castle as Cosmic Ghost Rider, Howard the Duck as Silver Surfer, and Howard the Duck as Juggernaut. So
Hey, let's go.
repping Howard. Chat.
God damn.
Who won? Who won the draft? And of course, what do I mean by win? Whatever your metric is.
The
Doesn't
metric
matter.
is the amount of ducks on the team. And I made sure I was extra safe with that.
It's who really struggled their way through. That's his mark.
It's the amount of webbed feet.
Marco, unbelievable.
Why would you ask Marco such a niche superhero comic question?
I don't know, dude. Listen, I'm gonna keep these so generic from now on. I've been trying to have fun with it.
Sean's going back to Avengers next week.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do.
It would be nice to tackle previous drafts that we've done, but eliminating those as an option. And I can put that on the screen.
That'd be
those
kinda cool.
characters.
Yeah.
Oof.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Like literally have like a no-fly list on the screen. So
Avengers minus all the Avengers
yeah,
that we
yeah.
actually know about. We'll have to say fucking like
Stingray.
D-Man.
Stingray, Brother Druid, Dr. Druid, yeah.
I'm down. We could do that. That sounds like a good next week draft. We'll
Yeah,
talk.
Marco, do your research. You got a week.
Yeah, gonna be some googling.
So yeah, chat. Let us know who won. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all of the support throughout this last weekend. All the comments that we've been getting on our interviews. Really, really appreciate those of you who take the time to leave comments for us on anything that we do. At the podcasting panel that we went to at New York Comic Con, one of the things that the creators talked about was how meaningful when you get comments and when you get reviews and things like that, because it shows that you guys, the listeners, are doing the most. You're going the extra mile to show your support. Listening to the podcast is cool, and we obviously appreciate everybody that does that. But those of you who literally do anything extra, you guys are what keeps this podcast going. You guys are the reason why we're getting bigger. You guys are the reason why we had some incredible things happen to us at Comic-Con this year.
Mm-hmm.
So really, really appreciate y'all. I know that so many of you found us within this last year, within the last 12 months. So thank you to those of you who have joined us. Thank you to those of you who've been here for the whole ride. You guys are great. And we're going to make next year's New York Comic Con way bigger. I firmly believe that.
Honestly, at this rate, why limit it to New York Comic Con?
Right.
I'm just saying.
I was speaking with a creator just today who was saying that we need to go to C2E2.
Oh, dude, I was supposed to, and then I got divorced.
Oh, shoot.
I had the ticket and everything.
We got told San Diego's always open for people, and then Emerald City.
Yeah.
Emerald City is the one I really want to do. Yeah.
The show will be back to its regular schedule next week. So the next week show will be Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern if you want to watch it live on youtube.com/thecomicspals. Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern for Pals Pulls. If you have enjoyed all the coverage, if you've enjoyed this episode, if you've enjoyed everything that we've done, patreon.com/thecomicspals is the absolute best way to show that support. Right now, there is the Comic-Con blog that you can check out for totally free. If you enjoyed that at all, there's a lot more things like that behind the Patreon subscription. So, if you want to support us anyway and you enjoy what I put out, the best is yet to come for you. So definitely check that out. Live book club, October 30th. Put it in your calendar. You're not going to want to miss this. The first live book club ever in the history of the show. We will be talking about the long Halloween on the eve of Halloween. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we have a talk back segment planned where we want to hear from you guys. So get out your copy of the long Halloween, read through it, come with some thoughts. We want to share thoughts with y'all at the end, which is something that we never get to do with the book club. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We hope you guys show out for it. Amin Perez in the chat says, will you ever open the membership on YouTube? Stay tuned, bud.
Yeah, it's not like Marco typed anything in there.
Stay tuned. We have a lot of fun things planned. A lot of fun. Atomic Hound says, I will see you at C2E2. If you make it, so will I. Hope to see you there. Hope to see you guys next week with us on the show. Thank you all so much for the support. It means the world. We got to go. Stay tuned for our interviews dropping this week. Oh, plugs. I'm sorry. Marco, quick plugs.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Comics Pals. You can catch me on Instagram, Twitter, all the things at Mr. Marco Animoto. And One Piece. It's all in my head. Talk to me.
Tyler.
You can follow me on Instagram at the Tyler Olson. Also on X, also on Blue Sky, also on Threads. Tinder. I don't know what the heck I'm still on. It might actually be my law. If you probably could find me that way. Yeah, check out the interviews. I did Chip Zdarsky. I did Danny Warren Johnson interviews. Check those out. Share that with your grandma. Let her know. Hey, grandma, watch these two mostly white guys talk about something you don't care about. Just give them the view.
Hi, grandma.
But yeah, just do that. I'd be really appreciated. I had a lot of fun with those interviews. So.
As for me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram only at Sean Soapbox, and I am full of tiredness, but also happiness. This was a great weekend. Thanks to Tyler and Marco for all their tremendous effort this weekend. Really did a great job behind the camera as much as they did in front of the camera. So thank you guys a lot. And thank you guys for supporting. It means the world. Until next week, we're the Comics Pal signing off. Take care.